Man.
Hey, it is Friday, and the Friday Night BS show is back, and it says we're having trouble, but we'll figure that out on one of our sites there. Tonight's show, we are going to talk about atheists. We're going to talk about the facts, the truth versus the facts. I did a little bit of research. I do a little bit, Kevin, about atheists, but I think you pointed out that one of my key mistakes was that you believe in Satan, that you're Satanist, but it has nothing to do with being a Satanist. We'll get into all that. Kevin is an atheist. Bruce is a Christian boy, Christian, and I am a Catholic. So, which one of us three is going to heaven, Kevin?
No one.
Technically, none of us are going to heaven. It has nothing to do with what religion we are.
Right.
Yeah. No, yeah. So we're gonna do our best. I know we've always had some really fun topics on the show, and we made light of it. So I'm gonna do my best today to be serious. I'm gonna try my best, Kevin, to discuss this topic seriously without making any jokes, because I don't want to offend any atheists out there. And I was talking to someone the other night at work, and it's something she said that made sense, and it kind of hit me like, it doesn't matter. They're still good people. It's just about being a good person. It's not about what religion you are, and I guess that's fine, right?
Right.
Yeah, just be a good person.
100%.
Yeah,
I'm going to do my best not to piss off the Catholics and the Christians tonight. So,
because his mom will be watching. His mom will be watching.
oh, my mom knows firmly where I stand.
It's not supposed to be the man show. We're missing our female co-host, who is also an atheist.
AWOL. She is AWOL.
Maybe she's getting ready for the winter solstice. Is that possible? No, I'm kidding. Did we miss that, Mark? No. What would be the equivalent? I know this. I should know this. For Christmas with pagans, it's one of those gods, right?
I mean, it's pagan. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, it's one of those dudes. It's one of those dudes.
Is it the solstice or the equinox? That's what I want to know.
Which one are we at? Which one are we? I have no idea.
Neither do I.
Maybe it's Krampus.
Tina's not here. It can't be Krampus.
Yeah, I would. I don't know if I want Krampus around, man. He doesn't seem to be a very nice guy, so I'm going to pass on Krampus. But yeah, we're going to do our best. I am going to do my best to treat this as a subject where we're going to do our best not to make fun of it. As me, because it'll be easy for me to do that, and for Bruce as a Christian to kind of go, you guys are, I don't want to go, oh, you guys are stupid, and like, well, don't you believe in God? What's wrong with you? Look around, all these things. So I'm not going to do that tonight.
I get my Bible out and try to smack people around.
Get that Bible out.
We'll see. We'll see if you don't do that tonight, John. I'm going to probably get you mad.
We'll see. Atheist definition of and you can tell me if this is correct or incorrect, Kevin. A person who disbelieves or lack of beliefs in existence of God or gods. The belief of an atheist can be tracked back to ancient times with evidence of atheist viewpoints found in classic early Indian philosophy, particularly among Greek philosophers. So we're going to dig deep. We're going to go back all the way to ancient times, and we're going to do this right here first. Let me pull this up. Let me make sure I get this right. 8 facts. We're going to talk right here, right off the bat. We're going to go with 8 facts about atheists. 8 facts about atheists. Kevin, you ready, Kevin? Atheists make up 4% of the U.S. adults, according to our 2023 National Public Opinion Reference Survey. That compares to 3% who described themselves as atheists in 2014 and 2% who did so in 2007. So it's not.
Numbers are growing.
It's what do you credit that slow growth to that movement?
I mean, that's a really hard question to answer
Yeah.
without diving into like the reason that people become atheists and the reason that people lose faith. Because I think what you're starting to see is that a lot of people are just moving away from that ideology, the ideology of religion, because I think, and again, I'm an atheist because I believe that the more that you look at the world and the more that you study it and the more that you use science to objectify it, the less sense that religion makes.
Yeah. How about you, Bruce? What do you think that about that number not being such and not growing whatsoever? Basically, since 2007, it's only grown like 2% in the United States.
Well, I think in my opinion, people need something to believe in.
Yeah. Well, this is a disbelief of things, but
Well,
you're saying,
but
yeah,
the reason is people
yeah,
need something to believe in, right?
Yeah.
So you have less people being atheists because people want to believe in something, right?
Yeah.
So if they want to believe in something, they're not atheists.
Yeah. For me, after reading all the stuff that I have read in the last week on this subject, I can my belief is that it hasn't grown is because there's just too many unanswered questions from that group, which is, like why and who and, stuff like that. Like, why do you believe that? Who do you think created the universe? Why is there evil here? Why isn't there evil? No evil. Yeah, so there's just so many things for me where I feel like the average Joe in America is like what Bruce is saying. They need something to believe in, and there's just too many questions that go unanswered when you speak to atheists on these specific questions.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's back this up here a second.
Okay.
So, what was the initial percentage of people that were atheists when this started?
What was that?
Was it
Say that again?
2%?
Yeah,
It
in
2%?
2007, there was only 2%. It's only gone up to 4% in adults, according to a 2023 National Public
So that's
Opinion.
2007 to
But wait,
2024.
but that's double. Like the percentage has doubled.
Has it doubled?
In 15 years.
But still, that is like if you talk about like population trends, that is growth. That's not no growth. That's definitely not no growth.
Yeah. It's in the U.S. Atheists are mostly men and are relatively young, according to the Center survey conducted in the summer of 2023. Around 6 in 10 U.S. atheists are men, 64%. Your thoughts, Kevin?
I mean, I don't know what to make
That's
of that.
kind of weird, huh?
That is weird. I don't know why it would be more men than it would be women.
And 7 in 10 are ages 49 or younger, compared with about half of the U.S. adults overall, 52%. So it's a younger guy, under 50, and
Single,
probably single. Atheists also are more likely than the general public to be white, 77 to 62%.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
That makes sense. And what kind of throws me off there is, again, look at us three here. We have 2 Italians, and Bruce, you're German, correct? You're German.
Yep, German American.
Yeah, and I'm willing to bet all 3 of us grew up with some sort of Christian faith, right? Catholic, probably Catholic too, Kevin. So,
Yeah.
And to think that we probably grew up with parents that were very religious. I did. I had to go to church. I was an altar boy, all this stuff. I don't know about Kevin. I think, Kevin, you were an altar boy too, right? Or no?
Briefly.
briefly? I don't know, Bruce. Did you attend church weekly with your parents?
No, I mean a little bit, probably more as an adult when I got married was
Uh,
more in the church because the
uh,
wife was Catholic, right?
yeah,
Um, but I didn't. We were thought about getting married in the Catholic Church, but I had to go through so many classes and do all this other crap to do that.
yeah,
We didn't,
yeah.
But
Yeah, the reason I bring that up. Oh, hold on, I didn't hit the go live on the Instagram. Uh, what? That's a tough question. Why do you think it's so low with other minorities like people of color and
Because, well, I mean, if you look at like, so Europeans, for whatever reason, uh, their religion doesn't tend to be as tightly tied to their culture as you see in like Latino communities, in Indian American communities, in like Indian communities, in Black communities. Like religion is much more tied into their culture than you see in like European culture.
yeah. And Brucey, for you too. Like, I mean, growing up as a young kid, I mean, everybody went to church, right? Like,
oh
did you
yeah,
have? Yeah, you didn't have
you're
like,
one form of something. I mean, I wasn't baptized till I was an adult, but I mean, I think my parents were Presbyterian or something like that. I remember going to Sunday school and not always, but certain points of growing up, we did attend churches and stuff like that. I think I
yeah,
dated a couple of gals that were Catholic that I got sucked into
they
attending
were dirty, dirty Catholic
Sunday
girls.
things and like the Christmas mass, which is taking freaking
Yeah,
forever. Up
yeah.
and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up. And
I
down.
mean, John, so I'm seeing a couple of different numbers too, just so you know. Like
Yeah.
I am seeing articles that are saying up to 26% of US adults identify as atheists nowadays.
Yeah, it's probably gone up since 2023. So, I mean, it's almost 2 years ago, this survey. So, here's some other.
I
These
know,
are
but
the
you're talking about like
statistics.
4% to
Yeah,
23%. That's way too big of a leap.
yeah, that's a big leap, and I think there a lot of what has transpired in the last 2 years of this survey. I can see, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Just because I basically, and you could tell me if I'm right or wrong. This is just my assessment of an atheist. I think there's three reasons that someone chooses to be an atheist, and I think one of them is the belief, your guys' belief in science, saying that, hey, this was all created from the Big Bang and it's just, coincidence and everything just had to be perfect. And this is why, here. But one of the reasons I think of the three is I think a lot of people swing over to being atheists. And again, this is my opinion, just some traumatic event in their lives that caused them to switch over and disbelief in God. Whether it's some of them, child losing children at birth or their parents, loved ones like that, where I can see where someone just could be at that stage in their life where they're like, fuck you, you took my child from me, there can't be a God. Or your child is born with some sort of disease that or illness that's going to cripple them their whole lives. And I do you feel do you can you kind of see where I'm going with that? Do you feel that a majority of that 24% maybe have been in those situation with a traumatic event in their lives that made them swing over that way?
I mean, even without having a personal traumatic experience like that, like there's enough awfulness in the world that I think a lot of people could look outward and just not see a God in a lot of what happens in the world today. Like there's a lot of things. It's like, as like an atheist, you can say, if God real, why do children get bone cancer? Why do, people get swept away in hurricanes and, monsoons and all this other stuff? Like there's a lot of things that happen in the world that are just, seemingly random, horrific things that happen. And I think a lot of atheists are like, if there was a God, if we're his children and he loves us, then why do things like this happen? Why does he allow it?
Yeah, yeah. How about you, Bruce? Do you think like what I'm saying, that do you think a majority of those individuals have made that decision because of some sort of traumatic event in their life?
With that traumatic or upbringing, they weren't brought up in a religious home or rebellious against religious home. I
Yeah,
mean, some homes go over the top and just drive, the person
yeah,
the other direction. There's a lot of people that faced with, something dramatic in their life or a big event or something like that, should be amazed how many people start praying to God, when,
yeah. Yeah, that's the thing too. You're right. Yeah, no, you're right. Exactly.
yeah,
Thank you for saying that, because that clicked the light on, and
yeah.
that's that dude that's like in that moment where his possibility is going to die. All of a sudden, he becomes a Christian.
Important, very
Oh,
important part of your, you know.
God, please God, don't make her pregnant. Please God, if she's not pregnant, I promise to be a good boy for the rest of my life.
I mean, I just find it amazing how many people say they don't believe until they're in a position that they
Yeah,
have to believe in something, because they don't believe what's going to happen to them, and they're just like, "Am I fucking up here?"
yeah. You're gonna like these next stats here.
Well, but fear is the single greatest motivator of humankind. Like,
Yeah,
people will
exactly.
say anything when they're in the shit.
And they're in the shithole,
Yeah,
and the
but I
shit's
mean,
happening
who are they
above them,
turning to when they're in the shithole?
like right back to
I mean,
God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they're
that is the
praying to
thing.
whoever will listen.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and I don't think it's like and not we're not like trying to say that everyone does that in that situation. I'm sure there's some people that start praying to some sort of pagan god at that point in time in their lives, but I'm willing to bet a majority of them say, "Oh, Jesus, God, please help me. Don't make this happen." Something of that sort. Here we go. You're gonna like these stats here. Atheist, like I said, atheists also are more likely than the general public to be white, 77 to 62%, and have a college degree. So these are educated, and these are high numbers. 48 to 34% of them have college degrees. So I want to ask you, Kevin, do you think a lot of that comes from? Let me finish the sentence, because then I can ask you this question. Yeah, college degrees between 48 to 34%. Roughly 8 in 10 atheists identify or lean towards the Democratic Party. So let me ask you this question. Being that something that we kind of all know about universities being filled with a lot of liberal teachers and being taught uh, more leaning towards that sort of lifestyle. I'm going to be careful with my words here, but do you think that has anything to do with it? That college experience, having liberal teachers, and end up being part of the Democratic Party. How do you tie all those things in together as with being an atheist, a Democrat, college educated person, white, white?
Right.
There you go,
All right.
white. Let me do it again. White, college, Democrat.
All right. All right. So let's get everybody mad. All right.
All right, go.
so
Should I single you
so
out? Should I single you
well,
out?
no, no, no.
Should I move you over
So
here and go bam?
so if you start, since we're going about colleges being liberal havens and all that stuff, if you start off the basis of the Democrats being the party of being progressive and having all those crazy ideals about what they want life and society to be, then you also have to admit that the Republican Party is the party of regression. They want to go back to the old ways. They want things to
Yep.
be, they want God and the Bible in the schools, and they want all of these things conjoined that we're trying to get away from as a society. And when you tie atheism into that, sure, yeah, it makes sense, because a liberal ideology of being the progressive party and giving wanting everybody to have rights and wanting everybody to be paid and wanting everybody to be happy all the time and let taxes pay for it, like those are liberal ideals
Yeah.
that would lend towards a lack of faith, because the other party, the regressive party, the one that wants to keep the Bible in schools and reduce the separation of church and state, and they are pretty much tied hand in hand with, if you're a Republican, you're probably religious, and if you aren't religious, you're probably lying about being religious.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're
So
more
yeah,
than
it makes sense.
Yeah. It was just, those numbers are high. And I just, I had to contribute it to the jump in the last couple years and people at that demographics to start making that transition to atheism, with everything currently going on in the world and, the way things have been with, you could just take, let me try this. Let me try this because this reading these statistics and seeing, well, I'm not going to piss off Jews and Palestinians out there, but those are two big religious groups, two large, one of the top three, right? Christianity.
That's what Islam and Judaism, right?
Yeah. So you've got these two groups that are fighting. You've got these college kids, supposedly. I'm not going to say that they're all college students that are protesting out there, but if these numbers were true, this kind of sets a whole different precedent to what really is going on in college. Of what
do
you're
you
seeing, from what you're seeing on college campuses with Palestinians and Jews protesting this war and each other, and these numbers being so high that there's that many atheists in there. You know what I'm saying? Am I making sense of that? How I'm putting that together?
I mean, I don't know. There's a couple of things that skew those numbers, though, right? I was just reading an article about this today. The reason that most protests are perpetuated and started by college age people is because, if we're being honest and simplistic about it, once you have a job and you're out in the real world, you don't have time to go out and protest
Yeah,
anymore,
that's true.
because
That's true.
because you have to make money. You
Yeah.
have to
Oh,
make sure that your
no.
family has
Administration
health care.
waiving all their loans.
Yeah, we don't want to get too into that one.
But like, so one, that's why you see a lot of college kids doing that. But I mean, I don't know. I think so, because
Most of the
again,
college
like,
kids don't even know what they're protesting. They're just there for a gang thing. So
Well, I mean,
they
we
go
don't
do
know.
interviews with half these kids, and these kids are, why are you protesting? Well, I
Yeah,
don't know.
they are a lot. It's sad.
that, or they know exactly what they're protesting.
Yeah, it's sad because a lot, even on
I had
both.
to vote.
Yeah, at least both sides will have people that, and it seems like the media knows exactly which one to pick out, and a lot of times that person that they pick out has no clue of what's really going on. And they'll
I mean,
ask.
but that's the point of, like, the opposing media, and that's what the media does. Like,
Yeah.
protesting is fine. It's the media that turns it
Yeah.
into a circus and derails it all the time.
Yeah.
Because you have people that have genuine issues, that they are protesting genuine things. I mean, let's be completely honest. What is happening in Gaza right now is horrific, regardless of how you look at that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, so people are protesting it, as they should, and our media decides that it's a circus because they look for the most uneducated and inaccurate person to do an interview with or ask questions to, and they do that.
Well,
And
let me
it
ask
takes
you this
away credence
question,
at that
though.
time.
Let me ask you this, though. Being that these numbers are so high in colleges, wouldn't you assume that the atheists would be out there also protesting this from both sides?
I mean, but you can protest it because you don't like violence, that you don't think that violence
exactly.
be
That's what I'm
being
saying. Well, the whole thing, when you really break it down, the whole thing is just fighting over a piece of land that both sides consider the Holy Land. And for an atheist, that would be a prime candidate for them to be out there and saying, "You guys are idiots." You're fighting over.
But you're also talking about two cultures where their religion is so heavily ingrained into their culture that you're not going to make an atheist out of somebody from Islam or a Jewish person.
It'd be tough.
I mean, it'd be really hard. It'd be really hard.
It would be very difficult. Almost all U.S. atheists, 98%, say religion is not too or not at all important in their lives. According to the same summer survey in 2023 survey, indicated identical share say that they've never prayed. They never prayed. That's pretty fucking high number for someone that's like we were just talking about, like life and death situation where everyone always goes to God, it's like, or the college kid that thinks he might have gotten his girlfriend pregnant, and it's 2:00 in the morning. He's in front of the mirror praying to God that she's not pregnant. But that's a pretty high number, 98%.
Yeah, but they're not asking atheists on their deathbed.
At the same time, 79% of American atheists say they feel a deep sense of wonder about the universe, and at least several times a year. And 36% feel a deep sense of spiritual peace and well-being at least that often. That's pretty good. I mean, if you think about it, it's just like, yeah, you can kind of understand that. You don't have that. I'll use you know what I'm going to be talking about, but like, that little God or the devil and the angel in your ear as a Catholic boy, and that burden of, that is just pounded into you for sinning, and if you don't have that in your life and you're a good person, right, Bruce, you don't have that sense of worry or like, oh God, I got to go to confession, or oh God, I gotta, I can't, you know what I mean? It's gone. That burden that it's on you for being a Christian or a Catholic is gone, because that's just a random day.
So along with the atheists, you get the agnostics.
The agnostics. We're going to talk a little bit about them too, but that's a whole different thing. That's
not really.
Yeah, agnostics. If Kevin will correct me if I'm wrong, they don't even believe in science. Where
agnostics,
the person who does not believe or is unsure of whether a God exists. The word agnostic comes from the Greek word meaning not or without, meaning known.
Yeah, but
they're atheist.
Right. But from what I read,
that one or more deities exist, but claims that the existence or non-existence of such entities is unknown or cannot be known.
Kevin?
Wait, so the atheist is the one that believes the deities exist? I thought that was agnostic.
Atheist is a person who does not believe in the existence of any god or any gods. Agnostic is a person who does not believe or is unsure of whether a god exists. That's agnostic. Agnostic atheist is a person who believes that one or more of deities exist, but claims that the existence or non-existence of such entities is unknown or cannot be known.
Yeah. Okay. So the atheist doesn't believe in God. The agnostic is the one who is unsure.
Unsure. And from what I understand and I read as well, that group also does not believe in the science part of it either. So if scientists say
that would just make them morons.
It doesn't say that in the definition I'm reading.
Yeah, that's what I read and a couple other things about. And then I had a couple people kind of explain the two differences to me themselves. And the atheist doesn't believe in gods or God, but also believe in the science that they use. They use the science in explaining things to other non-believers. So the two differences from what I understand is the atheist doesn't believe in God, but believes the science, and the other one doesn't believe in God as well, but doesn't believe in the science. So they don't
like
think there was
science of how life came to be.
Yeah, as life came to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So they don't believe in this. The Big Bang. They don't believe that the universe was created from that start. They don't believe in that we came from the ocean and we walked out on land and became mammals and did blah blah.
Wait, now you're just claiming that agnostics are creationists.
Or creationists. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Who's that? Mighty. I can barely see his name.
Mighty Scarlace?
Yeah, one is the knowledge
Sarlacc.
claim, and the other is the belief claim. Okay. Does that make sense to you there? What he wrote there, Kevin?
Yeah. Yes,
yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah. U.S. atheists, religiously affiliated Americans find meaning in their lives in some of the same ways. In a 2017 survey, we asked an open-ended question about this. Like a majority of Americans, most atheists mention family as a source of meaning. And I think that's great, because I think for some reason, people think that atheists are not family oriented people. Like they don't want to be around there. And
Because there's a whole lot of religious people out there that
yeah,
don't believe that atheists have a moral compass. They're
right.
like, you need that from faith in order to have a moral compass.
And I can see how that could make it difficult to keep a family, be in the family circle, because now I hate using the word, you basically become the black sheep of the family. Oh, that's John. He's that damn atheist. He doesn't, and I can see where some people would think that they're not so family oriented. They're not about being with their parents or their kids, their wives, and they're kind of these loners that are all by themselves. They don't. It's kind of a weird. I don't understand how that got to be portrayed as an atheist. This loner, this guy that doesn't believe in God and religion and family and creation and God. So I kind of get it. I mean. However, atheists, 26%, were far more likely than Christians. 10% described their hobbies as meaningful and satisfying. Atheists were also more likely than Americans overall to describe financials and money, creative pursuits, travel, leisure activities as meaningful. Very few atheists, 4%, said that they found life meaning is spiritual. Do you get all that, Kevin?
Just except for the so they're saying that at the very end right there, they're saying that very few atheists define meaning as being spiritual.
Yeah. It says, very few atheists, 4%, say they found life meaning is spiritual. Life's
That life
meaning
meaning
is
is
spiritual.
spiritual.
Yeah.
That all makes sense because again, like, this is all from the premise. This article sounds like this was written by somebody who is at least somewhat deeply religious, because it sounds like
Yeah.
it's just incredulous to them that people can find meaning outside of faith in God.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's wrong, because I think, I don't, all right, I'm going to piss off every family. I don't need God to be happy. Like I can get up and enjoy the people around me. Now, some Catholics will say, well, those people are around you because of God. God made, God is giving you this opportunity to have a family, to have a wife, to have children, to have grandchildren. And you need that in your life for it to mean something, or to be happy. And I don't buy that. And I think I don't need to have all those things to be happy. I can be happy with just what my normal day is, as long as I'm a good
And
person.
that's like, why are there so many religious people out there that have to make a relationship with God be this really petty thing, like
Yeah.
where God's just needy and needs you to thank him for every single thing that you do that's in your life all the time?
All the time.
Well, now, but is that a God thing or is that a religious thing?
Well, I mean, but so those people, the people that do stuff like that, they would like you to believe that you can't, separate the
So
two.
there is another category, and I don't know if you get John's probably saw it. It's called agnosticism.
Ooh, well, don't throw me off, Bruce.
You want to know what the definition of that is? This is interesting.
Is that when you're autistic and you're agnostic?
No, what is called when you believe in God but not religion.
But not
A
religion.
belief in God but not religion falls under the category of
Yeah.
agnosticism.
Hmm.
So you believe in a God but not in religion.
Oh, agnostic theism.
Theism. There you go.
Theism. There's too many of them, damn it. There's too many of them. We're going to stick with this one right now, Bruce. Don't tell me off. Atheists make up a large share of the population in many Western European countries than in the U.S., according to a spring 2003 Center survey that included 10 European countries. All right. So of the 10 European countries, I'm going to name them off. Spain, France, Italy, Hungary, Greece, Poland, Germany, UK, Sweden, and the Netherlands. Which one of those three do you think has the highest number of atheists?
Netherlands.
Netherlands? Kevin? Spain, Italy, Greece, Hungary, Germany, France, Poland, Netherlands, UK, and Sweden.
Oh, man. I want to say Sweden.
All right. Yeah, the Netherlands come in. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to say it's the UK.
Okay. All right. The Netherlands, 17% of the population is an atheist. Sweden, 18%.
Oh, by one.
Yeah. Number one, and I find this kind of weird, France. 23% of the population in France is atheist. 23%.
Because they fucking hate everything.
They hate everything.
They hate everybody.
Are you ready, everybody? I don't know what these people want from us.
Listen, I'm a quarter French. I fucking hate everything.
I hate you Americans with your American cheese and French fries.
They don't even shave the underarms in France.
France hate showers. Of course they hate God.
That's why they made perfume.
Hey, Banger, that's a great title for a fucking current book that anyone's going to be writing. French hate showers. Of course they hate God. Let's see. Yeah. France was number one, 23%. Sweden was in number two. Netherlands in three. Italy, 8%, which is still
all those big Catholics over there in Italy. Really?
Yes, I think that has a lot to do with it. I think Hungary at 2%, Greece at 9%, Poland 2%, Spain at 10%. So UK came in at 12%.
You gotta have faith if you live in those cold, shitty countries.
And two, you got to think too. You go back to how much of history of religion, not just in Italy but in France alone, throughout its period of time. That is throughout its existence. So France is probably one of the first colonized, really, countries, cities, Paris or whatever you want to call it. And it was based off of everything that went on in Italy. They listened to the Rome, they had to listen to the Pope and all that other jive. I just find that hard. But then again, you start thinking about the French and, they're pretty much hate everybody. So I get that. They hate God. I guess like even now I'm going to associate France with God haters, just like I associate South Philly people as people that hate Santa Claus. South Philly, the Eagles fans are the only fans that ever thrown snowballs and batteries at Santa Claus. Who throws batteries and snowballs at Santa Claus? Come on, Philly.
I don't know. I think the other part of it, you kind of put your finger on a little bit too. I think the longer that a place exists, I think the less religious people you'll find. And that's because I think, and not faith, not belief, but like the actual religion as a business, the church, all that. I think the longer that goes on and people see it, I think the more of a bad taste it leaves in people's mouths.
Yeah. Too. I mean, you think of when you think of the UK, you think of the beginning of civilization and everything that they have gone through as a nation. Each one of these, throughout history, and the plague. Just think how many people just give up on God just during the Black Plague. Just seeing people fucking just dying and going, "Where's God? Where's God?" And having, what was it? 1/3 of the population was wiped out, right?
Enough cool the temperature of the planet by 2 full degrees.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you saying, Kevin? Kevin, what are you saying?
I'm saying that
Brucey,
a lot of
watch
fucking people died.
Yeah, I think Kevin's got that Hitler complex. He's plotting something there.
Europe should have been a little cleaner with their toiletries, their garbage, and the rat population.
The rats were the
Please.
problem. They didn't even realize it was the rats the whole time, and they were just running around the house with rats. I mean, it was
because they had no idea what the fuck medicine was back then.
Yeah,
the rats are still running around Europe, man.
They're still running around here too. They got big ones in Chicago.
They're carrying people off in Chicago.
Yeah.
Most U.S. atheists express concerns about the role religion plays in society. An overwhelming majority of atheists, 94%, say that the statement religious causes division and intolerance describes their views a great deal or a fair amount, according to our summer 2023 survey. And 91% say the same about the statement religion encourages superstitions and ideological thinking. Yeah, I hope that's right. Nearly three-quarters.
Illogical.
Yeah. I almost got it out there. Nearly three-quarters, 73%, say religion does more harm than good in American society. Ooh, that's a big one right there.
I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Brucey, as a non-atheist, do you agree with that statement?
I do not.
I do not. I do. Well, explain why you don't.
Huh?
Explain why you feel that way, because I'm kind of curious if we have the same.
Why? Because I think in reality, it's a small minority that stir the pot.
Right.
They just get the publicity about it. The media. I mean, everybody blows it up just to make it a bigger deal than it actually is.
Yeah. I think we're thinking right down the same path. I think for me, seeing reading in history books and seeing maybe I don't know how, I'm not going to say films, but just the difference of life in the 50s when there was religion in school, religion in our government, and religion in our everyday life. People understood consequences, and I'm not suggesting that it was just solely religion that made them
moral. There was a moral standard.
Yeah, moral compass. That's the word I was trying.
That's cocky now. It's just, that compass is like, I don't know which way that sucker's spinning.
Where was that moral compass during the Crusades?
Crusades?
That's a tough one. I know, Kevin, because that's the one. Every time I'm talking to Jehovah's Witnesses or anybody else, Muslims.
Where's the moral compass when the church is hiding rapist priests and moving around?
I'm with you there. I'm with you there. I'm with you.
But I mean,
where's the moral compass when the Westboro Baptist Church is out, protesting soldiers' funerals?
Yeah. No, I know not all churches.
And again, but that's such a small percentage.
Yeah, but you can't use that small percentage when you're talking about the Crusades. They almost wiped out.
Crusades was nothing in our lifetime.
Yeah, not in our lifetime. And again,
lifetime. Yeah.
Do you feel? Let me ask you this question though, Kevin, about the Crusades, and this is the one that I ask a lot of people because that always comes up when I was talking about religion and Catholics, and then a non-Catholic will always bring up the Crusades. And my response to that is, do you feel the church learned from that mistake? The Catholic Church. Since that has happened.
I don't know. I think so. They did.
Do you believe that the Catholic Church would do something like that again today?
No, because that tactic wouldn't work in this day and age.
Yeah,
they're using all of the tactics that they can in this day and age. Yeah. Going out and murdering a whole bunch of people, that gets you, not to have a religion anymore. Yeah. But the other thing about it is, which I'm going to completely destroy my own argument here now.
Yeah,
They say after doing a whole lot of research about the Crusades that the Crusades were less about bringing Christianity to the Middle East than it was about getting the tyrant knights out of Europe to stop like destroying farms and families
right,
and
right,
just get them to go somewhere else.
There's
yeah,
always something more in depth to what's actually
right.
going on
From
than
what
what history
from,
shows.
Of
and
course.
I
Yeah.
have really done a lot of, I've read a lot of books on the Crusades and what they were trying to do, and it became less. You're right. uh, the knights became less about the church and more about themselves and acquiring land, cash, and all.
Yep.
And for me, they did they some of the things that they did do were good, and some of the things that they did do were bad. I mean, if you really look at it, the knights were basically really the first bank. If you think about it, they
The
had
Knights Templar were.
yes, the Knights Templar were basically, your first knights. So those guys were, they were taking, yes, they were taking property and land
I
from
mean, they
people
weren't they weren't the first knights. They were the first knights of the church.
of the church. Yeah. So yeah, the Crusades. I for me, I see a time when that happened, when Christianity was young, it was new. You had an emperor that wanted to establish one religion throughout his empire, which also to me means one thing, and that's to control. So, if you have everyone believing in one religion, you have control over those people. So
Well, stuff was
that's how
done in the name of religion, but it was land grabs,
yeah,
slavery,
yeah,
trade wars, and everything else. But they'll clap a name of religion on it.
yeah.
But
No,
but there's a lot of other things that factored into it. Slavery was
Well,
a big thing.
but them clapping religion on it is not the fault of atheists. That's the
no,
fault of those people being in trouble and using religion as a shield.
as a shield. Yeah.
Right, right.
Atheist.
But the point
Yeah.
that I was trying to make by bringing up all
Go
that
ahead.
stuff is like we're talking about religion doing more harm than good, and the argument against that, the argument on the other side of that is like, so we have those things that the church has done or that minorities within the church have done. What harm has atheism done to the world?
None. None. None at all.
So if an atheist makes the statement that religion does more harm than good, from an atheist standpoint, the church has done a great deal of harm.
Yeah. No,
Now,
I see
they
your
do
point
good.
exactly. I see your
Again,
point.
I mean, it's thank God it's a free country and everybody has their own opinions. So,
Yeah.
but
That's what makes being here so great. To be
right.
honest with you, I mean, if you think, if you go back a few hundred years, I mean, there was a time where if you weren't, a Muslim, if you weren't a Christian, if you weren't a Jew, you would be, hung or killed or whatever, a Protestant
Yeah,
here in the United States.
they had a word for it. It was called persecuted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that. I could be right, I could be wrong on this, but when the colonies were established here in the United States of America, they were all Protestants,
Puritans, I thought.
huh?
I thought they were Puritans.
Puritans. I'm sorry, Puritans.
Yeah, like old book
Old, old.
Catholicism,
Yeah, yeah.
where if you weren't Catholic, you were put to death.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah, because that was the thing when they got here. It was to try to separate themselves from the king and that religion, and being able to come to a
Yeah,
place. Yeah, yeah, and yet
yeah,
they
because
forced it upon.
they felt that the king in that religion was not religious enough.
Yeah, yeah. So they left to come over here and then force religion on the rest of us. So
Yes.
yeah, which is is kind of oxymoron there. Among the best before, this is something I when I read this and it makes sense. It says atheists may not believe religious teachings, but they are quite informed about religion. So it's very high numbers too. Yes, I'm an atheist. And yes, I understand the other religions, which is good, because if you're an atheist and you don't have any basis for theory at all, you're just going by what another atheist has told you, and you don't understand the scriptures, you don't understand all that stuff, you really don't have a point to argue.
Well, and not only that, but most atheists start from a basis of having some knowledge of religion before
Way
they
too
become
much.
atheists.
Yeah, some way too much. Good
Yeah.
little Catholic boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on, let me make sure I mute this. All right. Among the best performing groups on average, atheists were among the best performing groups when it came to understanding other religions. On average, they answered about 18 of the 32 fact-based questions currently, while the U.S. adult overall got roughly 14 questions right. In particular, atheists were twice as likely as Americans overall to know that the U.S. Constitution says no religion test is necessary to hold public office. I didn't know that. I had no
You
idea.
don't have to be sworn into office on a Bible. It can
Right.
be any book you want.
Yeah, I had no idea that. I always thought it had to be a Bible. Didn't you, Brucey?
No, I thought it was a choice, and usually it's president, but I don't think there's a president that has not been a Christian or a Catholic or some
That
sort of
is true.
religion.
Yeah.
But I mean, there has
We
been
haven't.
Congress people and senators have been sworn in on the whatever Quran or whatever it was. You know, that gal that's in Minnesota.
The Quran.
Yeah.
The Quran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you there's been a couple that have been sworn in the Torah.
I bet. Yeah. Her name is, no, I won't say. Hello, Becky. Peekaboo to you. And Becky, are you a Christian, Catholic, Protestant, Jehovah's Witness? What else? Throw me all the rest of them out there. Atheist.
Agnostic.
Agnostic. Jewish. One of those
Agnostic theism.
Yeah. So I always thought that had to be a Bible.
Atheist theism. There it is.
Oh, good question then. As an atheist, if you are in court, you can say no to that, correct? You don't have to swear upon the Bible if you don't believe in that.
They don't use that in court, really.
Well, don't they do that? You have to raise your hand. I swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Yeah, but you're not swearing on a religious book. You're just holding up your hand and swearing to the court.
You don't have to say God, though, right? Or do you have to say God? That's my question. Yeah, that's what I mean.
They said, since when do the? Oh yeah, I swear to
tell the truth. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
They still do that. Swearing in court.
Yeah, I don't think they really do that anymore, because I think they've made court pretty non-denominational now.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for them to take it off our money.
Here we go. Atheists were also at least as knowledgeable as Christians and related questions. For example, roughly 8 in 10 in both groups knew that Easter and the resurrection of Jesus.
So I got the court thing for you here.
But then again, that's exactly what Kevin's saying, though. It makes sense because most of them were at one point in time. A majority of them were either Christians, Catholics, or some sort were brought up in some sort of religion. So even if your parents aren't I'll use Catholic. Even if your parents aren't diehard Catholics, you know about Easter, you know about Christmas, you know about the resurrection. You say it, Kevin. I can't get the
resurrection.
Resurrection of Jesus Christ. You know all that stuff. Even if your parents are not diehard Catholics, that somehow, some way, that's been instilled in you.
Oh yeah.
Any Christian,
Palm Sunday, Ash Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean Christians still do that. They don't go to the extreme that the Catholics do on some of the celebrations, but I got your court or oath stuff here.
Yeah. This one was pretty interesting. Most Americans don't think believing in God is necessary to be a good person. That is good. According to the summer 2023 survey, when we asked people which statement came closer to their views, 73% selected it is possible to be normal and have good values without believing in God, while 25% picked it is necessary to believe in God in order to be moral and have good values. That's pretty good. Kevin?
I mean, it'd be great if everybody knew that you could just be a good person and be a good person.
Bruce, your thoughts on that one? That's a pretty high number, all right. But let me throw it out this way before I'll ask Bruce this: do you think being an American helps you believe that more so than, say, the person that lives in a third world country?
Apparently, more so than France.
Yeah, France
or Sweden,
France is in a
or
third
the
world
Netherlands.
Those are big.
I mean, most third world countries do feature religious persecution still to this day. So
Yeah, to this day. So I think it helps that being an
don't
American.
go to China or some of those Asian
God,
countries as a
no.
Christian or Catholic. You know.
Yeah. Especially like the Philippines. You don't mess around there.
Oh, Philippines is mostly Christian.
Christian and Catholic, a lot of Catholics.
A lot of
Yeah.
Catholics.
Yeah. You can thank the Spanish for that.
Yeah, the Spanish, and it's still to this day a lot of the what do you call it? I forget what they're called. The like volunteer work, help through the churches.
Missionaries?
Is done through the Philippines and West Africa and a lot of those places. So they're heavily inundated with whatever. Even the Mormons still do that, right? It's part of their mission. It's part of being in their
the mission.
I almost said cult, Kevin. I was like, it's part of being in their cult.
It's their mission, John. It's their mission.
I'm sorry to all the Mormons out there.
The Mormons aren't a cult. Those plates are real.
It's a Mormon mission.
They found them in New York City. Who knew that Jesus got all the way to New York City? I don't know how he got there. Well, again, he could walk on water, right, Bruce? So supposedly he walked from Israel and came all the way to the United States, and then took his readings, his prophets, and put him in the dirt there somewhere in New York. So
mostly the American Indians saw Jesus too at some point. So.
At some point in time, yeah.
Japan has Jesus's tomb as well.
Yeah, they got Korean Jesus out there too. I've seen Korean Jesus. I even seen a Jesus eating an egg roll. I swear to God.
So when you were talking about the swearing in court, I've got that answer for you.
Go ahead, Brucey.
So basically, there's two things you can do: the oath, right, which is a witness or jury member saying, "I swear by Almighty God that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth." Or that's the oath, or you can do the affirmation. The witness or jury member says, "I solemnly and sincerely and truly declare and affirm that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth."
Oh, okay. So you got two options. Yeah.
So you have two options for the swear-in in court.
That makes sense because things have changed in the last 40 years. Adults in some other wealthy countries tend to agree with this settlement. So, see, that's basically what I'm saying. That makes sense because, like, whether it's America where you have the freedom and the ability to, say, "Hey, today I'm Catholic, tomorrow I'm Christian," whatever. Some of the wealthier countries are the same way. So, I think maybe even not having, say, freedom of speech or that you have here, you still, in certain wealthy countries, you still can have this belief where you don't need God to be happy. I don't think it applies to certain places in this country. I don't want to name them off, but I'm sure there's a few places. Pay to play religious. Yep, I'm with you. Most Americans don't. Yeah,
none of us are Scientologists.
Yeah.
Well, they're paying to play, aren't they? That's a big pay to play.
Yeah, so based on responses similar to, adults in some other wealthy countries tend to agree with this sentiment based on responses to similar questions we asked in 2019 and 2022. For example, 9 in 10 Swedish adults say belief in God is not necessary to be moral and have good values, while 85% in Australia and 80% in the Czech Republic and 77% in France say this. So And that's pretty high for Australia.
Well, I mean, they're all prisoners there.
Yeah.
That's how that country started. Prison colony.
That's right. That's right. The UK's prison colony.
Hey, we're running out of places to put these people. There's an island just out there. Nobody's out there. There's some indigenous people, but don't worry about them. Just dump them over there.
It's mostly desert.
It's mostly desert. If they survive, they survive.
And it's tough to get off that island because there's a lot of sharks out there. Man of wars.
Yeah, big ones. Big ones. There's reefs that smash up boats. Yeah.
Yeah, about 3/4 of U.S. atheists, 77%, do not believe in God or a higher power or a spiritual force of any kind. According to our summer 2023 survey, at the same time, 23% say they do believe in a higher power of some kind, though fewer than 1% of U.S. atheists say they believe in God as described in the Bible.
Well, then they're agnostic.
So yeah, that would make them agnostic. So for me, okay. For me, that's how I separated the two when I was reading things. From what I understood is like the atheist doesn't believe in any sort of God or gods, but they're putting their faith in evolution, that all these things occurred because this happened, and we just evolved into what we are today without any spiritual help.
Faith is kind of a misnomer in that sense, because faith is belief in something without proof. So like there is proof of evolution. So you really can't say it's faith in evolution. Right. But yes, you are correct.
I love that proof in evolution, that there's nothing that's involved in modern history at all. It's all just science. And what's science? Science is a theory.
Yeah, but see, let me. I can also, and I'm not saying this because I want to be one of those conspiracy people. I don't feel like I'm one of those people, but I can understand how people of religious that are very religious would have some disbelief in science.
I don't. Huh? I don't understand that, because I mean, look, if science can explain why we can be on a ball of rock that's spinning at 1,600 miles an hour and we don't fly off into outer space, and we can have faith that tomorrow we're not going to fly off of this rock into outer space. Like, science isn't just guessing at things. Science is torture testing an idea again and again and again until you can pretty much say this is a fact. And to say that, science is just theories, you're not wrong. Science is a theory.
That's what they say.
Our body of knowledge every day.
Yeah, but we'll see where I looking at it as each year it seems like there's, we got this wrong, it's this. Oh, we got the planet is this old. Oh, we're wrong, it's actually this old. That's where I can understand where it's like it becomes just a hypothetical question or
hypothetical answer. We were heading into an ice age, and now we're global warming.
Yeah, see that's
what are we doing?
Yeah. Well,
ozone.
And then
ozone is opening up. You don't hear anything about the ozone anymore.
I do agree with you, Kevin. I think as time goes by and we get to some advanced technology or science to where we can actually pinpoint certain things without it being just a hypothetical guess, that's where I can see where the Catholic or the Christian or the Jew who has books that date back 4,000 or 5,000 years ago about Christ and about, the things that he did, where they would question a scientist today who's just making a hypothetical statement when, okay, this happened, the Big Bang is there proof that this Big Bang happened? And how are you estimating that proof? How are you coming to that conclusion? And a lot of times there's a lot of holes in science. And I think once we do get to a point where science and has caught up and we can understand, you see where I'm going with it?
Sure. So yeah, there's holes in science, but that doesn't compare to the amount of holes that exist in religious texts.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Only planet anywhere that has advanced life on it.
Okay, we're going to talk about that too.
But we can only see a very short distance in an infinite space.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, Ruth, because the universe is such a beautiful and orderly thing that it must have been designed. Only God could have designed it. Therefore, since the universe exists, God must exist. This is the argument, what they call the argument from design from atheists. This is the argument
intelligent design.
Yeah. An atheist might refute this by saying that actually the universe is not particularly beautiful and orderly. And even if it was, why should there be a designer? A modern science shows that most of nature's things we think of as designed are just the product of evolution.
Well, so all right. So let me drop a little science on you guys about this, especially because I love talking about space and the universe. It's my favorite thing to do.
Wait, let me slow you out. Boom. It's Bill, the science guy.
So we make the argument that space is beautiful and it is orderly, and that is, that is an indicator of the finger of God in space and in the universe. But science will argue this: when the Big Bang first happened, all of the particles in the universe were so energetic that like atomic bonds couldn't even form. And as the universe cooled off, those bonds started to form, which started to form matter, which started to form planets and solar systems and everything else. The counter argument to it being intelligent design is the fact that as we move towards entropy, which is power leaving or energy leaving a system, this is the only way that it can exist.
But a person that believes in God would say, if God didn't give us a brain, we wouldn't get to these places that we are today.
But that's always the religious argument, which is you just move the goalposts every single time that somebody makes a counterpoint. You're like, well, but then God did this, and that's why it is. Because that is the problem with the argument of religion, is that anytime that you try to put a finger on it and be like, well, it's not religion, people are just like, well, that's just God, and God works in mysterious ways, and you can't explain it, and you can't define it. It's the argument against logic and science, and just something that is an immutable force that you can't explain or understand.
All right. Well, then I'm going to bring it.
Same thing goes for science, because they cannot explain everything either. Because they have not put their finger on it. And they keep changing.
Yeah. But here's my counter argument to that. We have proof in the Bible of things that happened. And now we're seeing that proof was true. There was a great flood. We know that there was a great flood that came about. So, that argument that you're saying, if you look at the things that are in the Bible that were said to have happened, there are more things in the Bible that that scientists have proven has happened than there are scientists that have proven that there is no God.
Okay, but then I will make a counterpoint to this. If the Bible is somewhat a document of our history, and it comes from a time before there was any science, if you have no science in your life and a lightning bolt strikes a tree and sets it on fire, you're going to assume that there is something mad at you, or something that is trying to speak to you, or that it is something greater than you that is trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
And you're right. There are things that have been explained in the Bible that scientists are now saying actually happened. But I would argue that it is less an explanation of it being God, and more people writing about these big global things that are happening, like the
Nature.
ending of an ice age. Yeah, it's nature. And I think that it's just people that didn't know how to explain it telling their story and claiming that it was God.
Yeah. No, I see. Yeah. Like I said, I'm trying to look at it both ways. Like I know what the Bible says, and I know that each year that Bible's being proven true. And yet we have scientists that can't seem to get the date right of Earth, can't seem to get, the date right of dinosaurs, can't seem to get the date right for a lot of things that are happening in our universe. We've had some scientists that say that the universe is stagnant. We have some that say the universe is expanding. So for me, as a religious person, I look at those people as like guessers. We've said the word before, the guy that runs the circus, the carney or whatever, not the carney, but the ringmaster, something like that. But for me, when I see that each year things are being proven that are in the Bible, other than, some things that are probably never going to be
Yeah,
proven.
yeah,
Where's
all
the
the
Ark of the
supernatural
Covenant?
things that God and
Yeah,
Jesus did.
you're just not going to be able to prove those things. Did Jesus really feed 4,000 people with two baskets of one basket of fish and one? Do we have to go by eyewitness accounts of that thing? Do we? But we have to believe. It's faith. Again, it comes back down to faith. Do you have faith that Jesus was able to walk on water? Do you have faith that Jesus was able to feed all those people? Do you have faith that Jesus healed that person from leprosy? And I get what you're saying. We're not going to be able to ever prove those things to be true, but some of the things that have happened that have been documented in the Bible each year seem to be proven factual.
I mean, okay, that's fine, but like I'll even use that argument to just point out here that's like, so we admit that the Bible was written whatever 3,000 years ago,
4,000, yeah, 4,000.
4,000 years ago. And we are already like, well, we'll never be able to prove the stuff that happened in the Bible because it was 4,000 years ago.
Yeah,
And now, in that same breath, you're like, well, but science can't prove when the dinosaurs came around. That was 150 million years ago.
years before. Yeah, I know.
When did the planet form? That was 4 billion years ago.
Yeah,
And your book, you're saying, oh, it's got mistakes because it was 4,000 years old. But
yeah.
scientists can't get this right, so I'm not going to believe that.
Yeah. No, I know. I always get that one. That's the one fact and statistic that's in the Bible compared to what we have today. I don't believe in. I don't believe that the Earth is only 4,000 years old. It's impossible for even even if I were a believer, a true believer. There's no way I think evolution gets us to where we are today in 4,000 years when we know we've got.
So why is that? Why is it okay to not believe in that, but everything else is fact?
I don't know, man. Faith. That's all.
But if your book is wrong about one thing, surely it could be wrong about other things,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Like
sure. But yeah, no, you're right. No, I'm with you 100%. The first cause argument, explain everything that everything that happens has a cause. Therefore, the universe must have had a cause. That cause must have been God. Therefore, since the universe exists, God must exist in order to have caused it to exist. An atheist might respond by asking, what caused God? And I like that one. And what caused God, and so on. The argument might proceed that if God didn't need a cause, then maybe the universe didn't need a cause either. If God was already perfect before creating the universe, why did he create it? How did he benefit from it? These are, why did he even bother? And if the universe was caused, perhaps something other than God caused it. That's the atheist's philosophy.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. I get that. Like, okay, why? Some people say God was lonely, and I'm like, I don't know. You
I mean,
create
if God was lonely, then why did he leave us when we needed him the most?
Yeah, I know. I knew you were going to throw that one out there. I knew you were going to throw that one out there. But he did give us his
Like,
only
'cause
begotten son. He did give us his
but
only
yeah, but
begotten
we
son.
could really use him right now. He could sort some shit out for everybody.
Yeah,
he gave us,
remember, he died for all our sins.
he gave us free will.
He gave us free will. And I think that's
He
the
did give us
part.
free will.
I think that's the part that people have a hard time understanding. If
But can we have free will if
this
God's
is my point
omniscient?
for the atheists, though, because I can see where an atheist goes, well, God has given me free will, so I should have this will to disbelieve in God.
He gave you that.
I'm gonna ask you another question. If God gave us free will, is he omniscient?
Say that again, Kevin.
If God gave us free will, is he omniscient?
Omniscient?
Yeah. Knowing, all knowing,
all knowing.
all seeing.
We're going to get into that one too. We're going to get into that one too.
Supposedly.
But if he's omniscient, why would he give us free will? And if he in fact knows what we're going to do, then is it free will?
Yep, that's talked about in a couple articles here that I got in front of me too. No, I get that. I understand what you're saying, and I feel like that is a hard thing for all religions to accept. That here we are, it's 2024. We still have wars. We're still fighting over God. And whose God is better, whose God is not good, and who does a piece of land belong. I mean, all this stuff that goes on, I can see where like someone would say, if God is all knowing and he's perfect and he created us in his image, why is he doing this? Why is he letting?
Because it comes from the argument of the dichotomy of God, which is that God is both all knowing and all powerful. And if he is all knowing, why would an all powerful being allow the things to happen that are happening in the world right now?
It could be its choice.
It kind of comes down. Well, sure, that's fine. But then it's the whole idea of like, if you're all knowing and you know that what you create is going to turn out pretty terribly, why would you create it in the first place?
Well, because he can't see sin. It's the reason that he put Jesus on earth.
Yeah.
But that would make him not all knowing.
That is true.
Well, all knowing or all seeing?
All seeing and all knowing are two different things. Yeah.
Yes.
All seeing, all knowing. Well, for me here, this is where I get a little bit kind of lost, and I'll be honest, and I understand that it goes back to the temple where God damn it, John, it was right there on the tip of my tongue when he was building the tower up to the skies to heaven. We all from that point forward, we all spoke the same language, and then when we started building
Babel,
the tower, that he was building to God. I'm sorry, all you Catholics out there right now. It's not in my.
That must be a Catholic thing because I don't know that one.
It's the temple. You know what I'm talking about, right, Kevin?
The Tower of Babel.
Yes, where God decided that was his punishment for us trying to build a tower to God, and by punishing us was the ability for each one of us to have a different language, and that's where language comes from. It's in the Bible, right? I think it's in the Bible, but you don't know that, Bruce?
No,
you never heard that before?
I've done a lot of Christian Bible studies, but I don't think I've
it was a temple that was being built by one of the kings, and King Solomon, right? Solomon's temple.
Must be Old Testament, huh?
Yeah, and he's building this.
We did New Testament.
He was building a tower to God. He was going to build this tower all the way up to the heavens, and God punished them for doing this by destroying the tower, one, and also giving us different languages. That's where all the different languages come from. And I think that's the start of what could have caused, this is my theory, that could have caused what we have today. Now, I know this is a stretch, but I feel like if we all throughout the world spoke one language, there's a good chance that there would only be one religion, and we wouldn't have this fight that we have today, and this belief of Jesus from one religion to the other, because you have Christians and Catholics even have a disparity between what Jesus's role was on earth, and as well as the Muslims. The Muslims don't believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and the Jews don't believe that Jesus is the Son of God. He was just basically a prophet. I think the Muslims don't even believe that he was even a prophet. So, I mean, we have all this disparity.
Well, and both of those religions are older than Catholicism and Christianity.
Yes, exactly. And for me, that's how I look at it. Like, would we have all these problems? But then again, you take human nature into play, and since the beginning of time, and I'm sure even cavemen were fighting over the better cave, the better woman.
I mean, we have always fought over resources. Always fought over resources.
Yeah,
And
man, I always kick butt. I always kick butt for the bigger cave, and if it was the gal was less hairy, she was mine. Back in my day,
if we all spoke the same language, John, we'd be speaking Hebrew, and it wouldn't be about Catholicism, anyways.
Yeah, no, it would not. It would not be about Catholic. But yeah, exactly. But do you think we would have all these disparities between all these different religions that we have today? Would we have Hinduism? Would we have Muslims? Would we have Catholics, Christians, Protestants? If we all spoke the same language, just because of human nature, just the what is it called?
Listen. All modern monotheistic religions came from paganism. From paganism, where there was a pantheon of gods, like Greek, Roman, all that stuff. All of these religions are older than all of the monotheistic religions, and they are all based on religions that came from. You had gods that did everything. There was a god of love, a god of war, a god of fire, a god of nature.
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm with you. That's one of the reasons that I not that I have disbelief in being a Catholic, but I also do understand that it's not one of the oldest religions known to mankind. So what came first, and why wasn't that one the religion that everyone bought into? But then you have what we all know is just, mankind, greed and understanding of trying to control each other. And I think religion is part of that. And I think mankind has made religion a way of controlling groups of people and getting things done the way that they want them to be done.
I think that religion started as a way to explain the world to people.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we humans realized that we could control people through it, we were like, oh yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, and I think that goes way back, even to the first religion. I think that's just the way mankind is just programmed.
Absolutely.
Well, I think most of them exploited it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they did it for.
And humans naturally want to put themselves into a structure, like a structure that makes sense. I don't want to say a hierarchy because that's probably an inaccurate word for it, but we seek conformity and equality, and those things happen when we work together, not when we're all fighting with each other.
Right.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to have a purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I even you go all the way back to the prehistoric times. Caveman. There was one guy that ran everything. There was always one guy that ran. And I think that's just been throughout time in history. You go back and even in humanity, there's always been someone that has chosen to be in charge and control.
It's also a thing propagated in non-human species that are mammals, for the most part too.
Yeah, you got the and they fight. I mean, the animal kingdom, you got you got lions, you got buffaloes, you got horses. I mean, somebody always wants to be the boss, and there's always somebody challenging the boss.
There's always a dominant force. There's always someone that's going to control the groups of, even you bring it up. It's a perfect example, just chimpanzees. I've been watching a lot of stuff on chimpanzees, and it's just
So you're into
you can't,
monkeys, huh, Jimmy?
you can't help but see us. And just this, we've doing the same thing. We've probably been doing it way before. And they probably, actually, I take that back. They've probably been doing it long before we have. As having that primary primate, that one that controls
Yeah.
groups of people who, and you can see how cult.
Yeah, it's a constant struggle for dominance. It's a constant struggle for dominance.
Here's the problem of evil, the argument from evil. The existence of evil seems inconsistent with the existence of God, who is holy good and can do anything. The argument goes like this. Most religions say that God is completely good, knowing everything and is all powerful, but the world is full of weakness and bad things keep happening. This can only happen if God is unwilling to prevent evil, in which case he is not good. I like that one. They just went right into that one. God doesn't know about evil, in which case he doesn't not know everything, or God can prevent evil, in which case he is not at all powerful, or some combination of all the above. And that's a point you brought up, that you brought up earlier. If he's all knowing and he's all powerful and all good, why is there evil? But the Chinese will say there needs to be yin and yang to have universal love, to have the purest form of life. You have to have both evil and good.
You know what though? But like, I'm gonna look at it. I want to look at it like this, and I'm gonna posit this to you, John, because you got kids. Bruce, you got a kid too, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're both parents. God is our parent. With all of the suffering that happens in the world, would you as a parent ever allow that to happen to your children?
No, never. I tried to, I did my best to try to avoid.
Yeah, but you can't control everything your kid does.
We're not all.
No, you can't prevent all pain, but like, we're talking about things like childhood leukemia and bone cancer here. Like, and this would be a parent that gave you these things.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. But me and Bruce are not God. We can only be there so much.
But are we not created in His image?
Yeah, but here I'm gonna argue your point. As a parent, all you can hope for is that you teach them to be good and understand what they're doing has consequences. That's part of being a parent. When you assume God, who created us, is also a parent, and he's making sure by giving us these books and by giving us the word of God that we take that to be a better person and to understand that there are consequences. That's why there's 10 commandments. And you follow those 10 commandments and you understand there are consequences for your action. So you do your best that you can. Like Bruce, I'm sure, and myself did our best to make sure that we raised good kids that are good part of society and understand that there are consequences for their actions, and being good will only make things. See, there's an argument to your argument.
I can get behind all of that. I can say that's fine. Like, I am all for God doing some good old school smiting to people that are misbehaving. But I'm going to make the counterpoint of, like, again, like, I go back to childhood leukemia and bone cancer.
Yeah.
Like, God created us, and he also created those things. Like, what is the point of creating those things? Like, those don't strike evil people only. Those strike people,
good people
non-judiciously.
Because there's some people that will argue the point that, and I'm not agreeing with this, but that suffering brings you closer to God, and having that suffering. Yeah, so I know. Go ahead. I'm going to let you finish.
No, go ahead.
No, go, because that's the Catholic way. That's what you're taught as a Catholic, is that
I know that suffering.
You know what I'm talking about. You have suffering in your life, and that suffering should bring you closer to God, not farther. And I think Christians believe the same thing, right? I mean, there's going to be suffering. You have to see God's little tests to see if you still have the love for Jesus and God with all this suffering around you. And I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna say it because I've already made my point. But it's like
Yeah.
I
No,
there
you did.
I
No, I get you.
I agree. I agree that, if this were a just world, if the world was a completely just place, the argument for God would make more sense because then
Yeah.
only the unjust would be getting punished.
Yeah, but
But
how weird
that's
would
not
that
the world that
be
we live
though, Kevin? Here's my thing. How weird would that be if you're standing next to the atheist at that time and God smites you? And then that would be like for a religious believer, that's just God sending fear to you to believe. So if God was out there just smiting everyone that didn't believe in God and Jesus, and he was just that would not that would take faith out of it and put fear in there.
I mean, but that's literally what Old Testament God was.
It was.
But this is why he put Jesus on the planet on
Exactly.
the
Yeah,
earth.
that's why he
Yeah.
put Jesus. But Old Testament God, yeah.
He's like,
He
I'm
didn't
growing up. I'm changing my
he
ways. I'm
didn't,
not
he
going to be
didn't
so much of an
yeah,
ass
he didn't
anymore.
fuck around. He didn't fuck around. Old Testament Jesus said, "Oh yeah, all right, I'll flood the earth. Here you go."
Sodom and Gomorrah, smoke.
Smite. Angels that pissed him off, smite. Send them down to heaven.
Yeah,
Send them down
Yeah,
to
but
yeah.
hell.
this is how the hell came to be. He kicked the angels out.
Well, yeah. See, even I have thrown up that question to religious people in Catholic religion. It's like, yes, we are God. We are creating God's image, but He created something before us that is perfectly pure, and that is supposedly the archangels. And now, how can He create the
And
archangels? The most
they
right,
failed.
yeah, and yeah, exactly. And to me, that is the purest form of purity is an archangel in my book. Like for me, like there is nothing
And yet
better, there's nothing more
one of
pure,
them sits in the place of the highest punishment of God.
right? And to have that group of individuals side with one angel to decide that God should not care for us. That's the theory that Satan was upset that God spent too much time with us and we were, his little, I don't know what word to use there, but
They were jealous.
they were jealous. So for me,
I thought
how could
I
how
thought
can you create an archangel of such purity but yet give them the ability to have jealousy?
I thought that Lucifer was punished for the whole apple thing in the Garden of Eden. I thought that's why.
No,
No,
Because
that was
knowledge.
after. That's
yeah.
after. Yeah, that's after. No, God,
Oh, that's right.
there
He was
was a
already in
war in
hell.
heaven. Satan, which is not his real name, but Morning Star, whatever you want to use, whatever name you want to use for him,
He
decided
wanted
that
to sit on the throne.
he was upset. He wasn't trying to dethrone God, but he was upset that God was spending so much time on this impure thing that was us. And
Yes.
start a revolution or whatever you want to revolt in heaven with
Yeah.
certain angels, and that God was upset at this and took Satan and cast him into hell, created hell and cast him into hell. Bruce, is that sound about what we were taught?
Yeah, pretty much. I
Pretty
mean,
much.
probably some slight deviations, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty close.
there's and then yes, then there's your Adam and Eve, and
I mean, you
blah
got to
blah.
the point where the angels even mated with the humans, which pissed God off.
Exactly. Yeah, those were those were the Nephilim,
Yeah,
that were
the
thrown.
giants.
The Nephilims came after they screwed up. God made them that. They weren't Nephilims then, but they were angels that came down to earth to watch us, that ended up falling in love with us and creating children, and those children were Nephilims, which God left on earth, and those are who it now people.
This is oddly reminiscent of like Roman and Greek history.
it's
Zeus had a real problem with banging human
Yeah,
women.
but these Nephilims weren't gods.
Yeah, the Nephilims weren't God. No, they were angels. That they were the work of an angel and a human. A
But
Nephilim is
they weren't gods. They were
weren't.
mortal.
They were
And
mortals.
and they were
Yeah, but they were like better than regular humans, right?
they were just physically giants.
Yeah, the giant's super strong,
Oh,
and
that's right. That's right.
yeah, super strong. That some
So
people
so
believe
kind of
that's
like Hercules.
kind of, yeah,
Mm,
yeah. You
yeah.
got Zeus who sleeps with, tricks. Zeus is a tricky little bastard. I love Greek mythology because, and this is what I do love about religion, and not to kind of throw, but stories. I love stories, and that's just you get with
Yeah,
Greek
those little
mythology.
Greek gods were little horny little buggers.
They were horny
Oh yeah,
sons
they
of
were.
bitches, dude. They were
Oh
sleeping
my
with
God.
everybody. They were coming
And
down
they
the
were
road.
also malicious to one another, like schemes
Yeah,
within
Yeah.
schemes to fuck each other over.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Good stories.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, even if you look at the Greek mythology and you look how Zeus came to power, it's pretty fucking gross, dude. It's pretty
Killing his
gross.
dad.
Yeah, with his dad, and it's just like kill all my kids. When he figured out that one of them was going to become all powerful than he was, God, what does he do? Kill all my children, kill them all, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I see how it works, and then even what's
They
his name?
created all those what they call demigods.
Demigods, and you
Yeah.
got that's what's so intriguing with Greek mythology. It's a story, and it's just so many different factors of that story. Yes, the Holy Bible and Jesus, there's some great characters in there, but there's no characters like you have in Greek mythology. And it's just like, Zeus punishes what's his name for creating fire and giving us fire. What kind of fucking god is that,
Prometheus.
dude? Yeah,
Prometheus.
yeah, I mean, what kind of God is that? No, don't give them fire, and that starts, supposedly in Greek mythology, that starts humanity. That starts us becoming, civilized and learning to have fire
Yeah.
and
I mean, which again, that also mimics the story of Adam
yeah,
and Eve in the Garden of Eden.
yeah,
Like Prometheus brings us fire, and that's how we become like a
yeah,
civilization.
yeah,
The serpent takes us to the tree of knowledge, and then we gain
yeah,
knowledge, and we became ashamed because we were naked. Blah 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 blah. But there was
yeah,
everything else.
yeah. I see that. For me, and I'm not speaking for Bruce, but I can see where an atheist is like, yeah, I'm an atheist. You know what I mean? I'm seeing all these texts. If you were an atheist and you were someone that has studied all that stuff, I can see how you would decide to stay being an atheist. Would you, Bruce? If you take all the stuff that you've read, if you take all the religions in the world and you read of all of them, it's always about someone paying the price and being scolded or punished, or the world being scolded and punished, and society being scolded and punished, and where you as an atheist start to think to yourself, there's no way there's a God. There's no way. Why would God wipe out the whole earth? Why would God flood the earth? Why would
I can see
God?
why.
Yeah. Why would? And the perfect one I hear all the time that I get from atheists, and I don't know if you do as well, Kevin, and it's a good one because it's like, well, if God created this beautiful universe and these planets and Earth and put life on Earth, why is he throwing meteorites at it? Why does a meteorite wipe out everything at one point in time? Why
Because
was
he
the whole
wanted,
Earth? Yeah, why?
because he was tired of the dinosaurs and wanted to create something else.
Yeah, he needed
What
a new
better?
toy to play with.
What better way to
you
start
know,
the canvas all over again?
you know what?
Is to
What God
clear the
needed.
canvas.
I may be dating myself, but you know what God needed? He needed that help button that you got at Staples. That push
Yeah,
the button
yeah.
there.
Is that
Reset.
his easy button? The
Yeah,
easy
the
button?
easy
The
button.
easy button.
The easy button.
Yeah.
Because to me, when you read all this stuff, and I'm not an atheist, I'm just going to say that right now. But when you read all this stuff, I can understand how someone says this is not a just God.
Well, the only thing that ever confused me in religion, and when I did my studies and Bible studies and stuff, I could never really get a definitive answer on, was in the day of DNA now that we have, right? And supposedly there's Adam and Eve, right? There had to have been other people, because otherwise our DNAs would all.
Yeah, Bruce, it's in the Bible. God, there were other people. God
Yeah,
chose to put only Adam and Eve in the Garden of
Yeah.
Eden.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
because when Cain gets banished, he's not alone in his banishment.
Right.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. Yeah, I get that one all the time, but I remember being taught there were other people there. It was just God chose just Adam and Eve to put in paradise.
Yeah, they were the test subjects.
And then they fucked up.
I mean, how about in older versions of the Bible? The Bible opens with, "I am a jealous God."
I am a jealous God. Yes.
Yeah.
I am who I am.
What is he jealous of? What is he jealous of?
Yeah.
If he is the only God.
He is the only God.
He's jealous of not getting all the attention.
Yeah.
There was nothing. It was just him.
It was just him. Yeah. Some say it was him and his sister. Some say he had a sister, but which is, I don't know. It's here or there. I think even Supernatural kind of touches on that show that I watch, kind of talk about God having a sister who is actually evil.
Supernatural.
Yeah. Mother Earth.
Yeah.
Mother Earth.
No, she would be basically the same philosophy as like the Chinese, yin and yang. You have God all good, and you have a sister who's jealous that God created Earth and people. The same philosophy as Satan. That she got mad and she got jealous, and he cast her away. So it's just everything about the religion to me. It's gotten to the point where every time I read something, it's like someone's getting killed, someone's something's being reset, and it just you can't argue the point, like Kevin's saying. Is all these diseases a result of God, or is all these reasons for these illness a result of humans?
Well, I mean, there's got to be a way of population control, like some sort of natural order.
Well, I throw this back at you, Bruce, and I don't know, Kevin knows about this. At one point in time, we were supposed to live forever.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we screwed that up, though.
So yeah, we screwed that up. But
not us directly, but back in history, they screwed that up. Yeah, but even then, they did live longer.
They did. Noah was over 500 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and his father was over some crazy number too, as well. So that's what the Bible says. So, and people don't realize. Kevin shaking his head. You imagine though, living for 500 years, that would, but I guess then again, if you're living for 500 years and your family's still around, that's cool. But if you're living for 500 years and everyone else is dying around you, that's not so cool.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder at what age you quit having kids.
Oh, well,
God, hopefully right away.
The belief of atheism can be traced back to ancient times, with evidence of viewpoints found in classic early Indian philosophy, particularly among Greek philosophers, where people questioned the existence of God's worship at the time. However, it is important to note that defining someone as a confirmed atheist in ancient times was complex due to the different interpretations of belief systems then. That's the same thing we have now, though. Even though then there wasn't quite as many religions as there are today. But
there was way more.
Yeah. There was way more
back.
Probably,
way more back then.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, the Christians, basically, the different denominations coming from them was basically leaving whatever church they were in because they wanted doctrine change.
Yeah.
Right. Was the reason you ended up with so many of the Christian variations of religion was because of church doctrine that somebody didn't agree with. They wanted something a little slightly different, not necessarily in God, but in the way the church ran itself.
Yeah. Okay, Kevin, I got some questions. You ready?
I'm ready.
Does Kevin, the atheist, believe in Jesus Christ existed on earth?
I believe there was a man. I believe that he spoke. I don't believe he was the Son of God.
Okay. All right. I wanted to get that one out. Atheist. Oh, I'm sorry. Banger. How do you say it? Banger, ganger.
Bangaranga juice one.
I had to change this font because I cannot read this font. I don't know why I chose it. Can you guys read that?
Did you fucking go with Comic Sans,
Yeah,
John?
I know. I don't know why I chose it. I had the nice block font. Can you see it? Can you read it? I'm going to change it.
I can read it.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm looking at the bold print down on in the square rather
Atheists have a tight criteria who don't complain on faith, but can question. Most people are anti-theists due to their argumentative state.
True. Would you agree? Yeah, I get where he's going with that. Do you believe? All right, yeah, that was one of my. That's like I have some questions that I want to ask because there are questions actually. Where are they? I lost them. I had 8 questions. 8 questions. And is it in my notes? Hold on. Reason people choose atheism. Arguments of gods aren't convincing. What are the 5 arguments of atheism? The argument from design. Here we go. I found them. When engaging with an atheist, respectful questions could include, you ready? What led you to become an atheist?
Oh, God, you want the honest to God truth?
Yeah. Be honest. This show's all about. We're being serious. I think this is the first time we've done a show based on serious questions, serious topic. Nobody's getting laid on this show. Where we're talking about. There's no 1,000-member club. There's no people eating guinea pigs. Today we're being good.
So part of it is, what I talked about. Like, as I got older and I saw how many terrible things there were in the world, and not just not car crashes and stuff like that, but like terrible big things where you see floods and tornadoes and hurricanes and famines and stuff like that. And it's just it as you get older, you're like, why is this happening? I don't understand why this is happening. I thought that, I was taught from a young age that if you are a good person, good things come back to you. God loves you. God protects you. God takes care of you. And it's like you watch some of the most religiously devout people in the world get completely wiped out because of a flood. And you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And then the other part of it was I got really tired of how preachy everything was in the church. Like, I grew up Christian. I went to a Catholic school when I was a kid, so I had like nuns for teachers when I was young, and they were some of the worst people that I've ever met.
Yeah.
So it was hard. It was hard for me to keep my faith after having childhood where I started to realize that I didn't quite get the message because I saw all this pain in the world, and because some of the people that were supposed to be leaders in the church were some of the people that were the cruelest to me when I was a child.
Okay. And now I'm going to throw the question to Brucey. Is there anything that could, this is for both me and you. Is there anything that could happen in your life that would make you become an atheist? Is there any specific thing that could happen? I mean, other than,
I've been through the death of my wife. I mean, all the bumps and bruises and things.
Yeah. See, that had to be something that you, when that happened, I'm assuming that was questioning your head.
You wonder what the reason or the purpose is for that. Yeah. But I got to the point, going through church, denomination, all that stuff like that, and I was moved into the hierarchy of the church and the running of the church and the function of the church as a deacon and then possible elder and all that crap. That I got a taste of the church versus the religion, right? And then I learned that through my Bible studies and all that stuff I did, that one thing is you can't put God in a box, right? Mm. You can't put walls around him, which, in my opinion, that's what the church was doing.
Yeah.
So I walked away from the foundation of the building of the church, but not my relationship with God. So I still have a relationship with God. I just don't have a relationship with the church because the church tried to put a wall around God, right? And I disagreed with it because that's not what I was reading when I read the Bible and did the Bible study, stuff like that.
I'm just actually right down the same lines with you. For me, it was knowing, okay, I was born with febrile seizures until I was 12 years old. So when I had my first son, and at the age of 1.5, he has his first febrile seizure, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? What kind of God is going to punish me again for this? Because I felt like I was being punished for having febrile seizures until I was 12. I had them until I was 12, and before I had my last one. And then all of a sudden here I have I created a child with my wife, and now this child has this, and that was led me down that path. Like, how can he do this to this little child, even knowing that I was that little child at one point in time going through the same thing, and then seeing my son having to go not having to go to the hospital, and then seeing my wife and me trying to hold him down while they do a spinal tap on a 1.5-year-old child. And that for me kind of pushed me away a little bit. But the same way with you, I felt like the church, you used the word walls, I'm going to use the word corporation. I felt like the church had become no longer a place of God, but a corporation that only objective was keep people coming in and paying to be here. And I'm like, God, I don't know if this was something that was taught in the beginning, where I don't think people were going to church and giving 10% of their income or whatever it is the standard today at some of these churches.
I never could find that in the church because I always argued with the pastor. I said, show me where it says 10%. Yeah. I said, I can see where it says give with a joyful heart and what you
exactly.
can.
Give what you have.
I can't find that number any place in the freaking Bible.
Yeah, give what you can afford. And I've had people say, well, think about the people in 1,000 years ago. They would give their last loaf of bread to the church. And I'm like, well, that's great for them, but did they starve to death? What happened to that person? Does God require you to give your last loaf of bread? Or, if that was the value of monetary value back then, was a loaf of bread compared to money, was that something God wanted? Did God say starve to death and give that last loaf of bread and food to the church? No. So me, I pictured the church, all the churches, actually, all of them, I picture them as a corporation. And I'm like, this is no different than IBM, Microsoft, Google, all these places where you pay to play. And that's how I know that's bad. I know if my aunt hears me pay to play using the church, right now she'd come over here and God probably strike me down, but that's what I felt like. It was, pay to play. You want to be part of it.
When I left the church, they called me into a meeting to make me an elder because I was already a deacon. And the pastor came up to me with the board of elders, right? And they said, well, as an elder, you're going to have to give 10%. And I go, I can't do that. I said, I have bills to pay. I have obligations and all that stuff. And they go, well, you pay us the 10%. If you run short to pay your bills, we'll give you some money back. And I go, no, I can't.
What are you, the IRS?
Yeah, I said, that's just not the way it's going to work. And the pastor goes, well, then you're not hearing the word of God. And then I looked at him, I said, when are you the only one that has a phone line to God?
Yeah. Can I
said,
get on
don't
that?
We all have a phone line to God? I said, what makes your phone line to God any better than my phone line to God?
Well, Bruce probably said, hey, we got three-way calling now. Can I get in on that call, man?
So basically I just kind of walked out and said, I don't want the job. In fact, I'm out of here, period.
Yeah, it's perfect because that was the same thing I felt like I wanted to explore. And I knew my wife was Jehovah's Witness, and I knew that she converted to being Catholic, but I also wanted to understand where she came from, what she learned. So I went to Jehovah's Witness just to see what she has been taught and how she was taught. And unfortunately, the first mass I went to was during Christmas. Now, Evan, myself, you're not Catholic though, Bruce, but
nope.
we received communion. right, Kevin? We get up if you've gone through the stages: baptism, confirmation, and and communion. So when it came to time for it, they still have a form of communion there as well. And one person got up to go have communion, and I didn't understand. So I asked my mother-in-law at the time. I said, "Why is there only one person getting up to receive communion?" She said, "Because God has spoken to that person." And I go, how, what proof does that person have that he spoke to God? And he goes, "Just his word." And that word also means that he is the chosen one. He's the chosen 144, 144,400, whatever it is. He's saying he's one of those people. And I mean, I looked at her and I said, "Well, what's stopping you, Penny, from getting up and saying God spoke to me and I am one of the chosen 144,000, and receive communion?" And she couldn't give me an answer. She goes, "Oh, that would be lying." And I'm like, "Okay." I go, "How do you know he's not lying?"
Is
He
anybody
wants,
actually keeping count and
yeah,
knowing what
it's
they're up
gotta
to?
be, passed. It's gotta be passed. What do you understand of mortality without divinity?
Mortality or immortality?
Mortality, morality, without divinity.
So how do you understand that your life is finite without understanding the divine?
Yeah.
I don't understand the question.
Yeah.
Life is finite in proof all around us all the time.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the arguments for the existence of God?
I mean,
Have you?
so I kind of went into it already.
Yeah.
I said my
Yeah.
piece on that. I think
Yeah.
that religion and God came from a time when people didn't understand nature and the world around them, and I think that it was a way to explain things back before we had actual ways to explain things.
Okay, so that'll get me on the next question. What are your perspectives on the role of religion in society? You kind of touched a
So
little bit on that, yeah.
yeah, I mean, so back in the day, it was a way to bring people understanding. You guys have kind of touched on a way to control people. Nowadays, I think that like Bruce and you have kind of both touched on, like if you're religious, uh, I think personal faith is much more important, and I respect. I'm an atheist, but if you believe in God or you believe in, Allah or whatever it is, I respect that. That's
Yeah.
fine. That is your belief system that you have to get through your life, and to each their own. It is when you start talking about the groups of people getting together creating religion that I start to have serious problems with it, because in this day and age, I only see it as means for control and grifting people off of their money.
Yeah. 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 No, I get that because, well, I had a question for Bruce, but I fucking forgot it.
Mhm.
I did. How do
And
you
I think,
find?
John, there's more people like us that still have a faith and belief in God,
Yeah.
not necessarily a faith and belief in the church.
In the church. Oh, okay. That's what I was gonna. I just now I remember my question to Bruce. I'm gonna. It's actually for both of us. But do you find it interesting that that group of atheists like Kevin and Deana aren't pushing atheism on the rest of the world? They're a group that even if you want to consider them as a religious group, I'm not considering them as a religious group, but a group, a cult, whatever you want to call it. But do you find it funny that we don't see them knocking on doors? We don't see them protesting. We don't see them going to schools and preaching atheism. Do you find that pretty weird?
No,
Strange, maybe?
no,
Uh,
because there's still a minority,
they are.
um,
Well,
and 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 how would you preach that?
Kevin,
What? I
are
mean,
you,
no,
same question for you. I
honestly,
mean, do you find that kind of interesting that you are a group that's not like any other group that's not pushing, because you need people to believe for the group to continue to move forward. And that's
but
the same
but
thing with
but
anything.
but that's the great thing about being an atheist. Because so religion requires you to feel like you have to follow the religion in order to be saved,
Yeah,
which means that if there are people that don't follow your religion, you worry for their immortal souls and you want them to be saved. So
yeah,
what do you do to save their immortal soul? You preach. As an atheist, we don't believe in God. We don't believe that there is a detriment to an immortal soul if we have one for
yeah.
not believing in religion. So why would we preach? Because even if you do believe, there's nothing to fear if you're wrong.
Right, right. Okay, that makes sense. Just something I noticed. You take all the groups, and let's just call them groups. Let's take out the word religion. You take all the groups. For that group to thrive, you need to bring people in, and you don't see that from atheists, right, Bruce? I mean, we don't. I've never had an atheist knock on my door. I've had Jehovah's Witnesses, I've had Christians, I've had Mormons knock on my. I even had Catholics knock on my door, but I've never had an atheist just go, "Hey, let me."
Have you not heard the word of God today?
No, they wouldn't say that. They wouldn't say it.
Let me try to explain to you why you should stop believing.
No, the atheists will knock on the door and go, "Let me tell you why you haven't heard from God." that would be the atheist.
I think because the majority of people belong to some form of religion, that it would be a hard sell if you're knocking at the door, because even the other religions, if you're like a Christian and you get the Mormons knock at your door, or you get the Jehovah's Witnesses knock at your door, it's usually a very short, cordial, not interested, sorry, shut the door,
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the atheists would get the same response as the other door-to-door Bible thumper,
Yeah, my Jehovah's Witness story. You ready? My dad's out watering his orange tree, right? The Jehovah's Witness, him and his wife and his the other group of them come over and try to hand my dad the Watchtower pamphlet. And my dad, my dad's very calm, cool guy. He doesn't let things bother him, except when it comes to gardening. And so he's sitting there, he's watering it, and the guy goes, "Oh, here, this is a Watchtower Jehovah's Witness, blah, blah, this church is here, there, blah, blah." And my dad goes, "Oh, great, thank you for the pamphlet." That he's very nice and kind to them. And he grabs one of the oranges on the tree and he says, "God made this orange grow on this tree for you, And my dad looks at him and goes, "No, I planted the seed. I water it every day. I prune it. I'm the one that made these oranges grow on this tree." That guy had nothing. He couldn't say nothing back to my dad. He just grabbed the pamphlet out of my dad's hand and he walked away. My dad was so upset. He goes, "No, I planted this seed. I planted this tree. I pruned it. I watered it. I took care of it. I made the oranges grow on this tree." I was like, "Damn, Dad, go easy on the guy." How? Here's the deep question, Kevin. You ready? Deep. This is deep. This is deep. How do you find meaning in life without a higher power? Why isn't Deana here? Deana, I am so angry with you right now.
She did text you.
I feel bad that we're putting this all on Kevin. And
did you see the message from Deana?
And Deana praised herself. "I don't need homework. This has been 25 years of my life." So I was like, this is going to be great. We got two Christians and two atheists. I'm going to get a great perspective of belief and understanding. I'm assuming there are differences between why you were an atheist and why Deana's an atheist. I'm sure. Yeah. So I thought it would be great, Deana. So Kevin, how do you find meaning in life without a higher power?
I find that life has its own meaning. Again, like this goes back to this whole thing of, and I find it hilarious because it's like, religious people have to worry about your immortal soul and what happens after you die.
Yeah.
I'm happy to find meaning in just existing.
Yeah.
I think that the time that I get to spend here, the people that I get to meet, the things that I get to learn, the things that I get to do, I think those things are enough. I think that is meaning enough to be alive.
I like that. No, I like that because this is, even as, as a Catholic or a Christian, we have this thing that we're going to go to heaven. and be there and be happy and no sin, no illnesses, none of that stuff, it's still like, what did I do here? Like, what am I accomplished? Am I happy here? It doesn't matter whether I get to go to heaven or not. What did I do here? What did my life have meaning? Did I bring joy to people? Did I have family? Did I have friends? All that stuff brings meaning to life. This part of life is having the ability to have friends and have, whether it's even work, we have to work. We have no choice, but we have to work. But, the people that you meet, the things that you do, the things that you accomplish, all these things bring meaning to life, and whether I get to go to heaven or not, I think even in heaven, I'm still going to think to myself, maybe, I don't know, that what did I accomplish on earth? Did I have some meaning? Did something I do bring happiness to someone? You know what I mean? Subconscious. I'm sure you still have a conscious in heaven. I don't think that's taken away from you.
So I also believe that like the scientific answer for what happens after we die, I think it is way more beautiful than the afterlife. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe in a soul or that that we go anywhere after we die. And science says that when we die, our bodies break down and we are broken into our constituent parts and we go back into the earth. But beyond that, our particles that made up all those constituent parts, they go out into the universe. We become a
Yeah.
part of everything
Of
after we
everything.
die.
Yeah.
We become a part of stars that are born hundreds of millions of light years away. And I think that in a way that is way more beautiful than us sitting in a sky somewhere
But how we know
looking down on everybody else
that's
that's
not
living.
part of heaven.
We don't.
Yeah.
I mean, they never said heaven was a physical place.
Yeah. There's
I
really
mean, it's
no,
kind of
there's
implied
really,
though that
there's really no
Huh?
definition of heaven.
There is no definition of heaven.
No, but don't you find it funny that there's one hell of a great description of what hell is like?
Well, because it's on earth still.
Well, you believe it is on earth. I don't believe it is on earth.
Well, I mean, the Bible says it is, but yeah.
Heaven on earth.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and technically if you've been baptized, there is no judgment.
Yeah. You see, Kevin gets to be an atheist, but also he's been baptized, so he's been cleaned of his sins. So he's still getting into heaven.
And confirmed.
Confirmed. So he's still technically
he's still going to heaven. Believe it, atheist or not.
Yeah. Heaven comes to the new earth. Yep, that's what Bruce believes in. I still like,
after the Lamb opens the 12 seals.
Yeah, I still like the 1,000 virgins. That would be pretty cool.
Got to be a Muslim, John.
Really? It sounds exhausting.
And you gotta commit suicide.
It's not 1,000 though. It's 40. It's 40 virgins. I think there's 40.
Still sounds exhausting.
It does, doesn't it? Knowing what we know now.
And where are they getting all these virgins, anyways?
Everybody's a virgin when you're born again.
It's like that gal that got the surgery. She's getting a reset, but hers is 19,000. Yours is being able to.
It's only a one-time reset.
You think this chick that's gonna bang 1,000 dudes gets to be a virgin after she dies again? That's fucked up.
All right, let's see. We have 3 different faiths here. We have our Catholic, we have our atheist, and we have our Christian. Does this chick get into heaven, Bruce?
Depends on if she ever was baptized.
But
that'll be one hell of a confession.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, as a Christian, Christians don't go through confession.
No, Christians don't go to confession. That's why I'm asking you, if let's say she is a Christian, not a Catholic. If she's a Catholic, she's screwed. That's all I'm saying. I don't care if she's baptized.
Catholics are a little more. The Christian, I mean, you have to be baptized. The Son of God, Jesus, is a believer, and you're washed of your current sins, your future sins, and all sins, because at that point, Jesus has cleaned your cloth,
clean your slate,
past, present, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So God can't see your sins.
It says in the Bible, Jesus' blood flows for our sins. So as long as Jesus' blood flows, our sins are wiped out. Women get repaired and get their woohoo beaten again. Worst religion ever for them. That is true.
Who's beating again? Yeah, it's like a one-time fix, you know.
I'm sticking with Christ too. Kevin can't really answer that question because he doesn't believe in heaven or hell. So, what she does with 1,000 men, if that makes her happy, then that she's content with that, then her life has meaning.
Maybe she's been baptized.
Yeah. Now she's
Yeah,
Catholic.
but I'm pretty sure all religions say that you can't lay with another with a man if you're unwed. So I'm pretty sure laying with 1,000 dudes is a pretty big sin.
Maybe she's looking for a husband.
Yeah, actually,
you're supposed to do the looking before you bang them.
Well, she's trying them all out to see which one fits.
I'm gonna agree with Kevin on this one because I think she's got. I mean, if there is a pearly gates and she's standing at it, and St. Peter is up there, and
he's gonna be like, "Really, fucking really, bitch."
He scrolls down to her name and just sees this huge total. And just says to himself, "Were you at any point in time married to these 1,000 men?" No.
I mean, you think God's keeping? You think God?
Imagine St. Peter going.
I just imagine him like sucking through his teeth, just like, "Were you married to any of these guys?"
I mean, you think they're really? You really think they're keeping a body count on you?
Oh God, yes. Yeah, because for us, and you, that is a moral sin.
Yeah.
She slept with an unmarried man, and she was unmarried. So for her, she not only sinned once.
Well, I mean, in that case,
she sinned 1,000
times in 24 hours.
There's a lot of people that have broken that one.
Oh God, yes. 1,000 souls,
including you and I.
Yeah, including I. Yeah. All right, last one. And this is a big one. This is the deep question. What evidence would convince you otherwise, Kevin?
That there was a God?
Yeah.
Proof.
What kind?
Honest to God proof.
Well, like, do you need God to come down from heaven and stand in front of you and say, "I am God"?
I'm just waiting for that
that's what I'm saying. To the extreme, or to what extreme level would you need of that? Do you need God to actually make himself present to you, or could you be okay with someone proving some sort of fact that there is a God?
There is no duplicatable evidence that supernatural things happen on this earth. I would need for God to come down and be like, "I am God. This ocean is now blood."
Okay. Yeah, you're going all the way. So you're extreme level. So you need not a scientist, not a philosopher, not a prophet. None of that would make. You need to see God.
All knowing, all powerful. Give me an example of your power, and I will believe.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's tough because he doesn't make himself known too much.
God's signs and interventions are not always obvious. Sometimes they're very subtle.
Yeah,
sometimes
that's right. And I don't do subtle. I don't do subtle in dating. I definitely don't do subtle in religion.
All right, so let me ask you this.
I mean, sometimes like you're late getting out of the house 10 minutes later than you normally do, right?
Yeah. But
if you left 10 minutes before that, you would have been caught up in that big old accident there on the freeway.
That's right.
You know,
so a burning bush wouldn't make it. Wouldn't be enough for you.
I mean, if it was talking, maybe.
Yeah, if it's a talking burning bush, Kevin would still look for the speaker somewhere. Where is this?
Right, I'd be like, "All right, where is it?
Am I on America's Funniest Videos? What's going on here?"
You're gonna see me coming back with a fire hydrant to make sure there's nobody hiding.
Hey, what are you doing, Kevin? It's me, God.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Only you, yeah.
Kevin, like you said, Kevin's in the Old Testament.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Old Testament.
I'd be hanging out in Sodom.
No, I'm curious. I'm going to start asking that specific question to atheists when I run past them in my day-to-day life, because I'm kind of curious if that's where it needs to be for them to believe. I mean, because
I definitely don't think that everybody's
you got to understand how I'm looking at this. As a Catholic and Bruce as a Christian, we know that he doesn't make himself present. It's about your faith in that God's never going to make him, and he's done it very few times in the history of in all the books in the Bible and the history of time. He's not.
So there's that story of the couple that was in the flood.
Yeah. So for you,
they're up on the roof here, Kevin. Yeah. Right.
So
and the water's coming, and it's flooding, and they're up there, and a car drives by before it's getting flooded. He goes, "Come on, hop in," and he goes, "No, God's going to save us." And it starts raining. The car leaves, and then a boat comes by, and the guy says, "Hop in the boat." He goes, "No, God is going to save us."
Right.
And then a little while later, the water's getting deeper and deeper. A helicopter comes over and says, "Hop in, we're going to save you." He goes, "No, God is going to save you." Well, the people die. And they get up there.
Right, and then they get up to the pearly gates, and the guy goes, "I tried to save you 3 times."
3 times.
3 times, man. It's a great Catholic joke. I have a great one about the Pope and Mike Tyson, but I can't share it on this one, on this show. It's a pretty good one. Yeah. So for me, that's for what you're saying, as far as evidence, and I'm going to assume that probably a majority of atheists are going to probably answer that question the same way.
I would actually argue against that. I fall on the extreme side of atheism. I would say that at this point in my life, I am almost anti-theist. Like I am almost against religion because I genuinely am one of those people that does believe that religion as a whole does more damage than it does good. Right. Because we never really touched on it, but I do believe that religion in and of itself stagnates scientific progress, because I believe that if people could get on board with science
for centuries.
Yeah. So I honestly believe that from a science perspective, I think that our lives could be better and we could be way more advanced if we did not have to constantly battle and argue religion. Yeah. I don't think that there's a lot of atheists that are as far along that path as I am.
So let's say, would a miracle set you on the right path?
I mean, what a miracle, like a crying statue? No.
No. You went straight to the crying statue, dude.
An image of Jesus Christ showing up in a piece of toast? No.
No, yeah. Or how about a wall in a bathroom, like in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I mean, did you hear about that shit that happened in like Brazil? Like they found that like a statue of Mary was crying, and all of these people were like drinking from it, and like wiping the water on their face, and then they found out that it was just a sewage line that had broken behind the wall that the statue was attached to.
Yeah. But still, God made that pipe break.
Yeah, well, at least he's got a sense of humor, because all those people got dysentery.
God broke that pipe. He broke that pipe. Yeah. No, I was just curious if a miracle would be, but then again, it would take like someone coming down from heaven to create that miracle, like God. And we know what's going to happen if Jesus comes. Well, me and Bruce know when Jesus comes back, that's not going to be a good fun time. So
no, that's the beginning of the rapture and Revelation.
Yeah.
But see, now I don't look at it as, to me, my walk is not so much a religion as a faith.
Faith, yeah,
right.
Do you think, Brucey, before we go, and I asked the $1 million question I love asking at the end of the show, do you feel at this point in time in your life, if the rapture were to come now, say tomorrow morning, that you would be one of those that gets sent up to heaven?
One of those that puffed.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rapture, we just poof.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gone.
Right. But do you think you are one of those at this point in time in your life? Yeah.
I was baptized. I'm a believer.
Yeah.
I have faith, not so much as the church, but in the faith of God and Jesus. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask.
How about you, Johnny?
I think it'd be a bumpy road up, but I'd get there somehow. And I think too, it's just that sense of wonder that I think God has to take into consideration when he's considering who goes to heaven and hell, because we are human and we have that ability to, wonder. And like, hey, is there a God? And I shouldn't be punished for moments in my life where I felt like I didn't have that wonder and belief. You know what I mean? That's the thing, part of the whole thing of going to heaven that confuses me, because I think of all the people on earth, even the holiest of holiest people, I think at one point in time had doubt at some point in time in their life, right, Kevin? I mean, it'd be hard to believe that even the holiest of holiest men on earth at one point in time in their life had that thought in their head: could there really not be a God? You know what I mean? So
I
I'm
mean,
one.
if you believe in a religion, then absolutely, because
Yeah,
that is the test. That is the test
yeah,
of
yeah.
faith.
Yeah. So for me, that's what I wonder. How for some reason, I'm one of those people that wants to see this scale. Like, okay, how many times could I have done it? You know, does Saint Peter have a scale? Like, does he? Is there? You know,
Yeah,
the
between
Egyptians, the Egyptian, this the
Catholic
yeah,
Christians.
yeah, the Egyptians have this
In the
scale
Christian
where they
religion,
both have
there's
if
no
you're
scale in the Christian religion.
no, there isn't. But that's what I'm.
What if you get up to the pearly gates and it's like a fucking HIPAA violation? They're like, "Sorry, sir, we can't share any of that information with you."
What if you get up there and there's an HOA board? That would be really just.
And they're like, "Look, you got in, but that's all we can tell you."
That's it. You could put you can just tip your toes in the water. We'll
You
open a
didn't
gate.
get the mansion, you got the condo.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
mean,
then
could you imagine that? People being up in heaven and they're like, "Ha, I'm more faithful than you. I'm better."
yeah. Oh my goodness, that would be
Yeah,
trouble.
I
Yeah,
see. I just can't see that would work that way. That just
yeah,
kind of
no.
defeats
But
the whole
No,
one of the
of
purpose.
things
course
though,
not.
Yeah,
yeah, but one of the things though that I find interesting is everyone's theory of what heaven is like. Like, is heaven? Some people believe that heaven is just a rewind of all your greatest moments. And I'm thinking, God, that would be hell. Because if I'm reliving those moments over and over and over again, or a specific moment, some believe that you're going to live out that specific moment for the rest of eternity. I don't think I want that. I
no,
don't
that's
think I
hell.
want that. That's
Well,
hell.
I mean, but then how do you describe to somebody eternal happiness and like
Yeah,
contentment? That's the
yeah,
problem, right?
yeah.
Because that's what
That's
heaven is.
yeah,
Heaven is eternal life and contentment and never wanting for anything. You can't describe that to somebody. There's no words that would
yeah,
fit what that
yeah,
description would be.
yeah. All right, Brucey, the $1,000,000 question. What did Bruce learn today from Kevin?
He's an atheist.
Well, we knew that one. We knew that one. We knew that
He's like, and
one.
I
I
didn't.
don't like
I
him.
didn't know that.
Yes, you did. Didn't you know he was an atheist?
No,
Since day one. He
Oh
shared.
man.
we never discussed religion up here. Remember, there was
Yeah. Oh
when you
wow.
started this show, there were two things we didn't do.
Yeah,
What
that's
Religion
were
and
right.
those two
politics.
things? What
Yeah,
were those two
religion.
things?
Yeah, religion, sports, and politics. We never talk about that on this show. That was my golden rule.
That's how you lose friends.
Yeah, that's how you and family and family. Anything else you learn from Kevin about Kevin and atheism today?
No, I pretty much knew what it was.
Yeah,
I just didn't know
yeah,
Kevin was one. So,
yeah,
but, yeah,
yeah.
but he's not.
Bruce
He's
immediately likes me less.
yeah. I mean, he's not preaching. I don't care. 'Cause I mean,
I
everybody's got
mean,
their own opinion. Yeah,
I,
No,
I
I'm just
knew
kid-
I
I'm
knew
just
he
kidding.
was the first day I saw him wearing a friggin' Judas Priest t-shirt. I was like, "Fuck, dude, this guy's an atheist, man."
I don't
yeah.
even
But see,
fucking own a Judas Priest t-shirt.
That's the other funny thing about it. It's just the association of evil and God when it came to just day-to-day shit. So what if this guy's wearing a Judas Priest t-shirt? So what if he's wearing an Ozzy Osbourne shirt? You know, who cares? He could still be a devout Christian, a devout Catholic, but still like that genre of music. And
yeah,
but
you know
now
what?
it's
Whoever throws stones, lives in a
yeah.
glass house. But
Yeah, that's the one thing that I learned. That's the one thing that I learned, not just from Kevin, but from the last week of reading what I've been reading, is just this perception of what an atheist is. And I've learned through reading and through Kevin and Deana that, my thought of what an atheist was way off,
well, now that I look at it, when I was on the dating site, I would see
Yeah.
atheist, agnostic, and then
Uh, Would you date?
non-religious.
Here we go, Kevin. Would you date an atheist, Bruce?
Me? No.
No, you wouldn't date her at all, huh?
No.
See, now I think Kevin would date a Catholic chick or date a Christian chick.
It would be
Because he's
hard.
not gonna
It
put
would be
that-
really
The
hard.
same way I wouldn't be dating a liberal. I mean, atheist and liberal
Yeah,
would be the two things that we
heaven
don't.
and hell. The
Yeah, I
Republican.
mean, we don't. You know, I mean, I could just see moral arguments and drama, and it's like, why do it? You know, I don't care how cute. she is.
And
I
I'm
mean,
with
I
you.
think I think that's a little misplaced because I think that like if you were to date an atheist, not a liberal, but if you were to date an atheist, like it would be a non-issue because
Yeah.
you know there would be no argument of faith.
But
I
most
think the
atheists,
problem-
Kevin, when they show up as atheists,
Yeah.
they're also liberal.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, no, I know, I know, I
well, we
understand.
already proved that most atheists
Like
are.
we're talking about a narrow cross section of a
Yeah.
narrow cross section already.
I mean, I haven't seen atheist that says atheist conservative.
Yeah, and
I don't think I've
yeah,
seen
yeah.
that on a date.
You're
It's
probably
always
not going to
been
see that.
atheist, agnostic, liberal.
Slim West, what's Slim West say, guys?
I
I can't
think-
see it.
I
Say
think
who's
as an atheist, I think it would be hard to date a Catholic or a Christian because of the fact that they would have to try to want to save my soul.
No.
And I would
Okay.
get tired
No,
of the
I'll get
conversation.
that. I don't think I would have like I'm not a devout Catholic, but I don't think I would have a hard time dating an atheist as long as she was a good person. I think I've
Dating,
been
fine,
through
but
that.
like, what if you decided to get married?
Oh, well, I've been married already, so I can't get married in another Catholic church because I was divorced, so it wouldn't matter to me.
Get married in a
Yeah.
Christian church.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah. So it wouldn't matter. And plus, like you're saying, and now, okay, I see where you're going with that. Now, if it was my first marriage, yes, there could be some complications there.
Like,
But being it's my second or say my third, we're probably going to end up married on a beach somewhere or probably in a city hall, something like that. You know, most people don't have big ceremonies, their second marriages anyway. It's not like I'm going to throw another $25,000 wedding, you know.
We will never know, John.
Yeah, they'll never know. She was a virgin. I swear to God, she was a virgin. No, yeah. It's for me. It wouldn't matter. It would be to me. It would be what type of person is she? A good person? Is she a loving, caring? Is she someone that is part of society that is good? So, for me, that's how I would look. And plus, if she's blonde, blue eyed, and got a rat, I don't care. I don't care where she goes, dude. I don't care.
that's why most guys are atheists.
Yeah, that's
Guys
why.
got-
Exactly.
guys got those-
I'm not, look,
John-
pickings are slim as there
Johnny's
is right now. At
bar
my
is
age.
really, really getting
You know what I
low
mean?
now.
Pickings are slim right now. I'm 57. I don't get a choice to be picky. I'm not like I'm not.
That bar is coming down, Kevin, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
getting
That
really
bar is
low,
just.
yeah.
It's so low now. You can
John's
step
like-
over it. Yeah, you can
No,
step over
she's
that
alive.
bar.
It'll do.
Johnny's doing the limbo now, man.
She got a pulse. She has a pulse. Yeah, no, that's what I've learned, and I learned a few other things about being an atheist, and I think it was good that I read this stuff because, like I said, I had a whole different picture of what an atheist is. You know, I was picturing someone that was in the woods, doing rituals, and
You had us pegged for Satanists, John.
yeah, exactly. I had you guys sacrificing animals and chickens and all this
Yeah.
other stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Bunch of
And-
pagan
and-
worshipers.
Yeah. Yeah, but,
Yeah, those
that's the
people are
Catholic.
fucking weird.
But that's the Catholic, Bruce and Kevin. That's the Catholic in me. That's
Yeah.
I'm taught that if
He
you
was running around with the goat horn on his
Yeah.
head.
oh Lord Satan, oh Lord Satan,
Yeah, I'm gonna get a picture of Baphomet just for
Yeah.
you, John.
yeah, and AC. I'm picturing them in the woods with the goat head on and saying, "Oh Lord Satan," and then AC/DC playing in the background on the
Right.
highway to hell.
Right. And that's all right before they drink the Kool-Aid and have the
Yeah,
orgy.
just before they drink the goat's milk or goat's blood and sacrifice 2 or 3 virgins. But yeah, that was my, and not to that extreme. I'm kidding, but that was my my perception of what an atheist was. It's just I didn't understand that it just meant that they just didn't believe in God and all entities at all. No saint and no God. And they were, I didn't understand that it was science based. A lot of it's science based, and I can understand their perspective of what science is offering today, of what Earth is and how it became Earth, I can understand both sides of, okay, the Bible says Earth is this old, scientists say Earth is this old. Who do you believe? You have to have faith to believe that God is telling you it's 4,000 years old, or do you believe a human being who is prone to being wrong, that the Earth is almost 4 billion years old? So, yeah, I don't know. It was good. I'm glad that we did this, dude. I'm glad that we didn't talk about virgins and, somebody, our normal Friday BS stuff. It was good that we had.
Yeah.
We actually had.
We went long even.
Yeah, we went long. We
did.
didn't get dirty. We didn't get dirty. So, hey, anything you want to add, Kevin? Anything? I'm going to just leave it for you. No, Brucey. But is there anything else that you want to get out there? No. Well, you're not an atheist, so is there anything else that you want to get out there about being an atheist? That, like, sell your point. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I shouldn't say that because I know you guys don't want to do that, but I don't know. Just give me whatever you want to say at the end here.
The world is a big place. There's a lot of things that we don't understand. There's a lot of things that we as humanity seek to understand. And I think the most important thing for human beings to do, regardless of your political affiliation, your faith, anything, is to never stop seeking knowledge, never stop trying to learn about everything around you, because I think that as we continue as a species, that's probably the most important thing that we can do.
Yeah. Do you, last question, that's beautifully said too. Do you feel, Bruce and you and myself, do you feel there will be a time where it won't matter at all, religion in the world itself as a whole? I know do you think it's 1,000 years away, 100 years, 200 years away, where society,
it's already been thousands of years now already, and it's still
yeah. Well, you think it's 4,000 plus years old, so.
I mean, they're still having
even
wars.
older than that. Actually,
they're still having wars over in the third world countries. So
do you feel that there will be a time in society as a whole where people realize that this is our downfall and that things need to be changed? Do you think that'll ever come?
No.
And that's true. Exactly. As long as people are afraid to die, there will be religion, and that is true. I've heard that statement before, and because people want to have meaning in their life, and I get that part.
And as long as one thinks one is better than the other.
Well, yeah, I think what Sim's saying there is a big thing. I think it's a selling point for all religions is just not just having meaning for your life here on earth, but having a goal, something set somewhere where you're going to go. That, like Kevin says, it's hard to explain what heaven is, but for most people, heaven is this place of happiness and togetherness, to being with loved ones that have passed. So
you got the other.
When you put all that together,
they go kill themselves so they can get a whole bunch of virgins.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Well, I don't want to get into that one because
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But yeah, I can. For me, that's the tough one. That's the toughest part of religion is not just having meaning here on earth, but hoping that at some point in time, you're going to go to a place where you're going to be together with all those people that were part of your life. So, and happy, no more sin, no more illnesses, no more sickness, none of that. Everything is gone. It's just happy place, I guess. I don't know. All right, Kevin and Brucey, great show, man. I love this show. We might start doing some more of this. Kevin, pick another topic next week. This is all Kevin, guys. Kevin brought up atheism the other day at the last week's show, and I was like, this little light bulb went off in my head. I was like, you know what? Fuck, I'm gonna break my golden rule, and we're gonna talk fucking religion.
You gotta remember, John, in 100 years, nobody's gonna remember who we were.
That's the crazy thing, like when you see these shows, and like if there was I'm one of those people too, and this goes against my religion, that I think that every society has a reset, And I think there has been many, many different societies on Earth that have been reset. And I don't know if it's a god or some superpower or whatever, aliens. But to me, it seems like there's always been a reset on Earth with modern society. I think society has gotten to a certain level, and then someone goes, boom, and then it's just bam, reset. The sad part of it is
the circle of life, John.
No. But the sad part of it is you look at these prehistoric times or pre times.
You mean I grew up?
The Egyptians, the first civilization, the Mesopotamians, correct? You look at those. Yeah, they left their mark on society, left their mark on life here on Earth. But from what I understand and from what I've read and from what I've seen on video, the materials that we use today to build our homes, to build our buildings, all this stuff, within 1,000 years would be gone. There would be no sign of us ever being here. That's sad. Like, what have we created in society? And let's go... what would you say would be the last modern building mankind is? Would you say like the Colosseum? Would you say the temples in what would you say was significant, like the last thing of modern man created prior to what we're doing today? You know what I'm saying, Kevin? Like nothing.
Yeah,
The Empire State Building would be gone. They would not exist. People would not know. 1,000 years from now, there would be no signs of the Empire State Building just because of the materials and things that we used to build our structures today. None of that would be here.
Mayan temples are still standing. The pyramids are still standing.
Yeah, but we've lost most of those construction components.
Yeah,
I didn't say all, but there's some stuff that's
Bruce,
still standing.
I know we're running long, but Bruce, they still haven't figured out how the Romans made concrete.
They just did.
Finally. And think about that. That's
they still haven't figured out how the Mayan whole civilization disappeared.
Yeah. That Colosseum is over 2,000 years old, and we're just now figuring out how they made that cement that outlasting everything else on Earth.
But that's because, but the reason why we couldn't do that is because it's a historical site and we couldn't take it apart to analyze it.
Yeah. But I mean, there are.
I agree with you on that one, but someone else threw out a theory.
Roman cobblestone roads.
Yeah. But Bruce may agree with me, but there's another theory to why we have never figured out how, because it was not cost effective. And that's a good state. That's a true state. It's not a cost effective theory to make that type of
nothing ever gets done until you can make money for it.
Exactly.
They sent a grant out to find out why bumblebees can fly. Yeah. So they spend money on stupid things.
God only lets atheists into heaven. No. I love it. All right, guys, look into the camera and say goodbye to all your atheist friends. Bye.
Go one.